All right, it looks like it's working this time. Well, hello and
I
happy
do see the
first
live this time.
Thursday of the month, which
I do
means
see
it's
live up in the top left.
yeah, I've got it up on my other monitor here and it is live. But happy first Thursday of the month, which means it's time for another Achievement Chaser with my good buddy Dude here, who you hear his voice when I am doing my Dude Souls on Wednesday nights. Um, so how you doing tonight, dude?
Doing pretty good. Just had to be in the office today, so I haven't done much outside of work and driving.
Yeah, gotcha. So, well, thanks for joining me. And yeah, so I've never had this happen before in ever, and I've been using Restream since about a month after I started my channel. So it's been like almost a year and a half. And we went live about 8 minutes ago, I'd say. And then after I did my countdown, I started doing my intro, and it said your live stream ended unexpectedly, and it never actually started on the viewer side of things. So that was really weird. So I had to go and recreate the stream, reattach it to the stream that was scheduled, and go live again. So that was very odd. I've never had that happen before, but we're rolling with the punches, and we are live. So as is per usual on our first Thursday of the month, we're talking about our achievement hunting over the course of October. So, I've not counted. I just pulled up the stuff I want to talk
I
about,
actually
but I
just
don't
count.
really.
I counted like right before stream. I've got like 10 games to talk about that I finished
Okay.
or played through.
I've got that one I can talk about. That one I'll just briefly mention. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I've got a decent amount to talk about as well.
Is someone taking Jake's catchphrase?
Jake. Oh yeah, I haven't seen Jake's. I don't know. Jake's been busy in real life, so I forgive him for not showing up. But I haven't seen him much. But what's up? JT Epsilon is here. He said he was in here first before we went live. He said early because why not? And then we started a couple minutes after that. But as I mentioned, it failed to go live, so we're live now. But good to see you, JT Epsilon, and Nerd Slap. Good to see you as well. Saying, "Hey, I like the stream, nerds." Yeah, for taking over for Jake, because I haven't. He's got a good reason to be busy in real life. So, but I hope he's
What, do
doing
you
well.
have a
But
kid?
he is going to be getting married, and he is also moving to Peru.
Ah,
So he's got a lot of stuff going on. So, but he's a good dude. I look forward to chatting with him again because we still have a part 3 open mic to do at some point, and I'm looking forward to that. But he's a good dude. But good to see you, Nerd Slap. I need to talk to you. We need to have another call because I've got more ideas. So, and um, I have something else I want to talk to you about as well. But good to see you guys tonight. Yeah. So, dude, you have a little bit more to talk about than me. So why don't you go ahead and get started on whatever you want to talk about first?
I'll go ahead and start on something I got like the last couple achievements in since last stream. I can't remember if I did say I finished this game or not, but I did finish Twilight Princess last month.
Okay.
I can't remember if I said if it was before or after the last achievement chasers.
I
So
think you still had a few left, if I remember correctly.
yeah, there were probably like a couple of the 3 heart, mostly the 3 heart challenge
I'm
stuff.
pretty sure that's where you
Um,
left off after last episode.
yeah, so I pretty much went through the game on with 3 hearts. Um, Pretty much that was mostly just getting through the game like normal, and then a couple of the achievements based on the final boss with Ganondorf that I didn't get through in my first run through. That I decided I'll wait until I get the do it through the 3 heart challenge, because then it's much easier to reset, so you don't have to have them just waste your 20 hearts. You just have to
Yeah.
waste 3 hearts.
Yeah, so I've not gotten very far in that. I'm definitely not going to be getting through that before the event is over. But I'm looking forward to playing it at some point. I don't know if it's going to be this year though. We'll
Last
see.
time I checked, I had 37 points for the event.
For the event, I'm still at. Let
I
me
think
check.
I think the highest person is 70 or 90 points. I can't remember.
Wow.
So yeah,
Let me.
there's some crazy people on retro achievements that just go through games so damn quick.
I'm still at 9.
You gotta be at least one more game.
No, I'm working on like 2 or 3 right now. So I will, like I've said, I will definitely get the 10 I need for bronze. I'm gonna try and pull out some magic and get to 20 before the end of next week when it ends, but I don't think that's gonna happen. But I'm gonna give it the old college try.
Gotcha. But there wasn't much to say about Twilight Princess mainly because I only had a little bit left. The Cave of Ordeals gave me a little bit of trouble with a 3 heart challenge run, but you could use the magic armor
That's
during that,
right.
so it wasn't nearly as bad. Just don't get hit too much in the earlier. And the hardest part is the 3 dark nuts in the final floor.
And okay, yeah, I like those enemies. Those are always one of my favorites because
Yeah.
they're like not quite a boss, but they're like a heavy
So
duty like regular
well,
enemy.
in Twilight Princess, they actually are a mini the sub boss in one of the dungeons, and they just start becoming normal enemies throughout the rest of the game after that.
Yeah. So, and this was, I think, only your second time playing through it. Is that right?
Yeah, I've only played through it once on the Wii,
Okay.
so
Yeah. Because I
it
haven't
was
played it that many times, but I think I've
because I
played it
mainly because I
3
only had it on
times.
the Wii when it came out, and whenever I had a Wii, my
I think.
parents
Yep, I got my copy right here.
gotcha. But when it came to the Wii, it was in the living room, so I couldn't play for as long as I usually would be able to with other consoles. So that's
Gotcha.
kind of why I didn't really play it. I only played it the once. And Skyward Sword didn't just made me not want to come back to it with those conditions in
Yeah,
place.
it's funny because people always rag on Skyward Sword for the motion
I hate the
controls,
motion
which I
controls. I
had
can
no
never get them to
problem
work.
with the motion controls. My issues were with the other stuff. But yeah, Twilight Princess, I think, was your number one when we ranked Zeldas.
Yes.
And it was my number 2, and it is great. I think I want to say I played it 3 times, but it's been a very long time since I played it. So I'm looking forward to playing through it
I
again
can't
because
wait
it is
until the Wii and the
fantastic.
Wii U versions have achievement sets.
Play through it 2 more times
Yep.
or however many, 2 more versions of the game, I should say, because they
Yep.
probably will take more than one playthrough each. But
But
Nerd Slap is saying, yeah, sorry, I haven't gotten back to you. Last couple weeks have been crazy. No worries. I just have a couple things I want to talk to you both about what we've been working on, or, technically you've been working on, but I want to talk to you about something else as well. And Christian Frades is here. Good evening, Christian, saying happy N7 day. Yes, it is N7 day. After we're done here, I'm going to eat, and then I'm going to be playing some Mass Effect 3 multiplayer. I think JT Epsilon is planning on joining me. And I think I had a couple of people who want to join me as well. So happy N7 day to everyone. So what else do you have to say about Twilight Princess?
nothing much because I've said a lot of it during the last week or last month. So, and also during the top 5. So, it was just something quick that I could talk about since I only had a couple more achievements left this month.
Okay.
So I'll probably go ahead and start talking about the next game I started streaming.
All
And I
right.
actually finished this game up over the month. And since it was spooky month, I decided to play a spooky game. So I decided to play Luigi's Mansion. Now, sadly, I could not play this exact version of Luigi's Mansion because the retro achievements did it through the PAL version.
I was gonna say
Because
it has to be the specific ROM version that you need.
yeah,
That version probably wasn't
and
supported for the
well,
achievement.
it's not because of the 60. It's not because of the extra languages, which is why they'll with the portable games they'll usually link the European versions because of that. Because it has
Okay.
usually the European versions have at least 3 languages supported
Oh,
on them.
I noticed a couple of them where I got the US version because I just downloaded.
Yeah,
I have these games just.
I ripped them myself. So
I know you rip them yourself. I don't have the ability to do them, but I do own these games. So
if you have a Wii, still you can rip your GameCube and Wii games pretty easily.
really, because my Wii is just on the other side of this wall, hooked up to the TV.
Yeah, if you hack it, they're really easy. It's really easy to rip the GameCube and Wii games that way.
All right, I'll have to look into that. But
Wii is one
um,
of the easiest consoles to hack. So
interesting. But obviously, I don't have that, so I just downloaded the ROMs for these games, and I just got the US version. And
yeah.
I think it was Wind Waker. It was like saying achievements not supported. I'm like, what? And I went and looked at
Wait,
supported
Wind Waker?
files. I want to say it was Wind Waker. I could be wrong. But I remember there was at least 2 games, I think, where I had to go and look at what the actual versions were that were supported, and it was like the EU version. I was like, oh, and I had some trouble finding the right version of the game.
Yeah. the main reason usually for most consoles they'd stick with the North American because English is more viable than Japanese for people, even for the people who don't speak English, because
Yeah.
usually they're used to seeing English somewhere. So but and because of the 60 hertz, that's the reason why they don't tend to go with the European
Oh,
versions is
because
because of
those
the
are
50.
usually 50, right?
Yes,
That makes sense.
the reason why Pokemon Channel did it on the European is because for some reason Pokemon Channel on GameCube, it actually gives you the option of changing to 60 hertz when you
Oh,
start the
okay.
game. So that's why they went with the PAL version of Pokemon Channel.
Okay, yeah, I was right. I just pulled it up on Retro Achievements, and Wind Waker, it's all the European versions. There's no US version that supports achievements.
Dang, that means I'll have to download it myself too.
Yeah. Oh, actually, it looks like there's four here, but one is the European version, and then there's three European patched versions. But I don't. Oh, one is widescreen support. Oh, nice. I might have to do that once I get around to playing Wind Waker.
Yeah, I'll just download the normal one. But the reason why they did it for Luigi's Mansion wasn't because of language support or anything else. It's because they added a second mansion into the game on the European version.
A second. Is that like just
I
like an
mean,
extra level, or was that
it's
like a
not
whole
really
other
it's not
part of
really
the
like
game?
like extra mansion like you would think. It's like a mirrored version where they change the spawns of the ghosts and the normal ghosts in the rooms, and they make everything stronger, but you also kill them faster.
Oh.
So
Okay.
you vacuum them up faster, but they can deal more damage to you.
Gotcha. Yeah, I haven't played Luigi's Mansion, so I don't know exactly how it plays.
Yeah, but pretty much the achievements were mainly just um play through the game on the normal mansion and the hidden man, and then also the hidden mansion. Then there's also achievements for getting all of the portrait ghosts, which are the special ghosts that aren't like
Okay.
the normal ghosts or the boos. And you had to get gold on every ghost. But luckily, if you didn't get them during the normal mansion, you could get them in the second mansion, which I ended up doing them all in the main mansion, even though it would have been somewhat easier to do them in the hidden mansion because of the increased vacuum speed.
Okay. Would you say that the one for getting all the special ghosts was probably the I don't know if most difficult is the right word to use, but
I would don't think that one's the most difficult. I think getting all of the gems or gold bars and the hidden mansion was harder
okay. And what
because
exactly
some
does
of them
that
are
entail?
missable.
Oh, missables
Um,
suck.
because you have to find all the golden mice, and some of them only spawn in certain spots 20% of the time you enter the room, which isn't so bad for most of them because you could just walk in and out of the door really quickly. But then there's one in the sealed room where the only way you can get into it is by dropping in from the roof.
Oh, so you have to go back
And
around and do it over and
the
over
only way
again.
you can get in the only way you can leave that room is by using the mirror trick where you use the Game Boy of Horror to on a mirror and it takes you back to the beginning of the mansion. So you had
Oh.
to go all the way back. You had to walk all the way back each time just to get that 20% chance.
Oh, that's annoying.
But that's more on the developers' part than the achievement developers.
Yeah. Okay. And so because you were doing that one on stream, right?
Yes, I was doing that one on stream.
Okay. And how many streams did that take you to because you completed that
Um,
and got all the achievements, right?
I think around 6 or 7.
Oh,
Let me
okay.
check.
Longer than I would have thought because I assumed that was a relatively short-ish game.
It took me 8 streams, and
Oh, okay.
it was mainly because of the it was mainly because I had to keep on retrying certain bosses,
Okay.
and also if I messed up on getting one of the missable um pieces of treasure, I'd have to restart from the last time I saved. So that's where most of it came from.
Does it have? I'm assuming it probably doesn't have save anywhere. It's probably got like checkpoints or
And no,
saving.
you can if you talk to a toad, you'll save. And
Okay.
every time you catch a boo, one of the 50 boos, it'll also save right then and there too.
Okay. So it's got sort of a hybrid of a checkpoint and a save station.
Yes.
Okay.
But the problem is that all of the toads are only on the first floor, so once you get further into the mansion, kind of becomes a pain to go back to the toads to save.
Gotcha. Okay. And all right.
But on the very last stream, I ended up getting like the last boss achievement on the hidden dungeon or the hidden mansion, and then I decided to stay and then spend the entire as much as I could just finishing it up because I needed one more run through the game because there was one where you get like very little amount of treasure. It's pretty much It's pretty much there to get so you get the worst rank for the mansion at the end of the game. So I pretty much just speed ran the game that way. The only reason why I didn't speed it a little bit faster is because I accidentally got a couple of gems I didn't want to get, or not gems, pearls. Because whenever you suck up a portrait ghost really fast, they drop pearls, and you can sometimes pick them up while you're fighting the ghost. And it turns out I really didn't need to restart when I did because I was way below the threshold. Because whenever you beat the game with very little amount of treasure, you end up only having a tent on the hill.
Okay, so
instead of a mansion.
Okay, so the more you have, the better.
Yes, but this one was called Penniless Plumber.
Okay. So you're going. It was specifically for an achievement.
Yes,
gotcha.
That was the only reason why I had to go through the game a third time.
Okay,
and you can only do that one on the original mansion. You can't do that on the hidden mansion.
Just to get an idea, when you did the Penniless Plumber one, how long did that achievement take?
About 3 hours.
Okay,
and I wasn't fully speed running either, so
yeah,
somewhere between 2 and 3 hours.
That's not too bad.
Yeah, there was a couple of achievements like and once you start the hidden dungeon, you have 7 minutes to beat the first area, which is pretty much you getting I think a couple of keys and then 3 portrait ghosts. It took me a couple tries, but that wasn't too bad because as long as you didn't save, you could restart, you could retry quite often.
Okay.
Then there was another one where there was a fight with 2 twins, or twins, and you had to suck them both up at the same time in one attempt. And the way that fight is really annoying.
2 at one time, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, I could see how that'd be annoying.
Luckily, they didn't ask you to do it for the triple fight.
Oh, there's one you have to fight 3?
Yeah, but the way that both of those fights work, only one of them gives the pearls.
Okay.
So it makes it easier to try and get the gold that way. Just suck up the 2 that don't give you the pearls first, and then go for the one that does give pearls last, because then the other ones can't get in your way.
Okay. Well, that makes sense.
But it was also during my Luigi's Mansion run that I actually realized I did not set my GameCube controller settings correctly.
Oh, how so?
Because you know how the original the GameCube controller is analog triggers, right?
Analog triggers. Yes.
Yeah. Well, apparently it was before it clicked. It was way before before the click happened on the GameCube controller, because it's supposed to click whenever it's full. It goes to the digital input. But
yeah, I learned
but
that
while it's still going while I'm still even before it clicked, I was already going to the digital point in the emulator.
Oh, okay.
So because of that I was causing me to have to do a lot less. So I didn't have as much give on not going for a full press. And then I found a way to actually make it work properly.
Okay.
Where it only did the full digital press when it finally clicked. So I play through all of Sunshine without the proper analog triggers.
Yeah, I am in a similar situation because I think I talked about this on probably like our August or maybe our July episode, but I've been playing with my third-party Switch controller, and because the second game I played, I think it was the second game I played, was Rogue Leader. Yeah, I did Metroid Prime first and then Rogue Leader because those are my two favorite GameCube games. And in the training area, there was one of the objectives is for like doing there's a difference between like full boost and half boost.
Yeah.
And on GameCube, you would do that by partially pressing the trigger, and then the full boost would be like fully pressing the trigger. And I learned that those are actually two separate inputs in the Dolphin emulator, so you can set those to two separate buttons. And I was trying to figure out why the heck it wouldn't register the half press, and it's because this controller only has digital triggers. So I can't do anything other than 0 and 1. There's no in between. So it hasn't been that big of an issue, but there are times playing certain games and like
there are going to be certain games on GameCube you're going to have issues with that.
Yeah, so far it hasn't been anything that's been like game breaking, but some of it is like it would be really nice if I could only half press rather than going full press of the trigger. But I've just been living with it so far.
Yeah, you might want to figure that out. If you still have original GameCube controllers, I could send you a link to the adapter I use.
I do have my GameCube controllers. I do like this controller because it's got some other stuff that I like. Like I like having the paddles on the back.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got some extra.
Yeah, but playing GameCube games without a GameCube controller is weird.
Yes, I agree. I would say, it's nice having extra buttons because you have L and R, whereas the GameCube only had Z. There was no left shoulder button.
Mm-hmm.
So it's nice having an extra button there that I can map to things. But in some games, it doesn't make a difference because the in-game like button mapping doesn't have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
So it's got its pros and cons. But yeah, I thought at first it was something wrong with Dolphin, and then I realized it was my controller. I'm like, oh my goodness.
At least with me, it was more like because I didn't set it right.
Yeah. So, and we got Amon Ra coming in with the customary moo. What's up, Amon Ra? Moo to you too. Good to see you, buddy. So, all right. Anything else you want to touch on Luigi's Mansion?
Nope. And what's kind of funny is now that I've finished Luigi's Mansion, I finished all 3 Mario Brothers games, technically. Because now I did Super Mario Sunshine. I did
on GameCube.
Yeah, on GameCube. I've done Super Mario Sunshine. I've done Warriors World, and I've now done Luigi's Mansion. It's so weird that the GameCube had all 3 of those games on it.
Yeah.
And then technically there was a Waluigi game because the DDR remix game had Waluigi as the villain.
Oh, interesting. I did not know
That's the only time that Waluigi was actually relevant. Sadly.
Yeah. Well, he's playable in like the Mario sports games though, right?
That's all
not like a main character.
But he's not really relevant in those games.
Okay. So, okay. As for me, the first thing that I'm gonna start off with my Xbox stuff, and then I'll move on to my retro achievement stuff. I know, or I talked about this. I don't know if it was on Last Achievement Chasers or on a different stream. I think it was on Party Chat. I was talking about it, but I panic played this game before it left Game Pass in the middle of October. I think we got it was announced on October 2nd that it was leaving, so it left on the night of the 15th, the morning of the 16th, and that was Scorn. I was never originally planning on playing Scorn because it's very I knew it looked very creepy, and I typically don't play that type of stuff. As you'd probably know from watching the last couple episodes of Top 5 with spooky games and spooky movies. Spooky is not, unless it's like Luigi's Mansion type of like cutesy spooky, I'm okay with that. But typically like spooky stuff is not my up my alley. So I was never planning on playing Scorn. But
you should play Doom 3.
I've started it, and it is on my backlog. I played a couple hours of it. I've gotten a little bit into it. I will play through it in its entirety at some point. I just don't know when.
The 360 version or the Xbox One version?
The Xbox One version.
Okay.
That's the only Doom game that I have not beaten is Doom 3. No,
Doom
sorry.
64?
That's not true. I'll get to Doom 64 later, but I haven't beaten Doom 64 yet, but I will very soon. But yeah, so as for Scorn, I was, I don't know if coerced. Coerced is definitely not the right word to use. Um, Convinced is a better word for it. Back on the Valentine's Day episode of Party Chat back in February, um, Nadia from Inside All Day podcast, she was on the panel on that one, and she was talking. It was her answer. One of our Party Chat questions was Scorn, and she loves things all things creepy like that, like this. And so this was like right up her alley because it's very like H.R. Geiger inspired. Um, and so she's like, "Oh, Scorn is fantastic. You should play it at some point." And I was like, "Okay, I'll put it on the backlog and I'll get to it maybe eventually." And then it got announced that it was leaving Game Pass, and it says it's like a 5 to 6 hour completion. So I was like, and it doesn't have like action horror or survival horror or anything on the genre tags. It's just first person shooter and puzzle. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. Probably the other spookiest thing I played in recent memory was, and I played it last year at some point, and I panic played that as well, was The Medium. Interesting concept, but that's also spooky, and I wasn't planning on playing it, but it wasn't terribly long. But it had a cool concept in that it renders, the reason why it was an Xbox One exclusive, because it renders the world, both like the real world and then like the spirit world at the same time, and you're seeing both things on the screen at the same time, which is a pretty cool concept. But it was a very mediocre game, and it didn't have a horror tag on it either, which is why I was like, you know what, I'll give it a shot. It was, I wouldn't say it scared me, but it was it was much creepier than Scorn. But anyways, I gave Scorn a shot, and I definitely would not put first person shooter as one of the genre tags on here. I would just put puzzle. It does have combat in it, and you do have a couple of guns, but I think that they should not have had any combat in the game at all, because the combat is atrocious. It is so bad, god awful. Your guns are
I think you're already winning on the worst game played this month.
okay. If it was just a puzzle game, it would have been much better in my opinion, but they added like arbitrary combat in. It almost feels like they like made it a puzzle game and someone's like, add combat to it. And they're like, we didn't plan for that. Add combat to it. And they're like, okay, we'll add combat to it as like an afterthought. Most of what you have, the weapon you get first is basically like this piston gun, so you don't actually fire anything. You have to like charge it up and walk up to stuff, and it doesn't release automatically, so you do have to aim and release it at the right time. So if you get really close to these enemies, there's not a lot of them in the game, but you have to use that for a lot of the game, and it's not good. Your movement speed is very slow. Fortunately, I found out like very early on, because a lot of people played through the game and didn't realize it till afterwards, that there is a sprint button. And I say a sprint button in air quotes because it's more of a walk fast button. You're still pretty slow, but it's much better than the standard walking speed, which is really slow. You do get a couple of guns, or it's not really you get guns. You basically have this device, and it swaps between different modes with these different attachments you get, and one is like a pistol attachment and one is like a shotgun attachment, and then you have like the piston mode that I was talking about, and that's basically it. And the amount of ammo in this game is the worst I've ever seen in a game. If you do use the gun to shoot enemies, you want to stick to your piston version that doesn't use any ammo, because there's less ammo in the game than there are enemies, and most of the enemies take more than one shot to take out. So you run out of ammo and you have to revert to using your little piston gun, which freaking sucks. So the combat was pretty terrible. The puzzling aspect of it was decent. I'll give it that. At the very end of the game, like I said, I think I mentioned, but it's a pretty short game. It says a 5 to 6 hour completion. It took me about 9.5 hours. And that is because at the very end of the game, the final door to the final cutscene, I was like running around for half an hour, running around. I was walking fast in this area for like half an hour trying to figure out. I was like, there's a couple pressure plates that you have to use to open up the door. I'm like, I don't know why this isn't working. So it's like, maybe it's glitched. So I reloaded my last save, which you can't save anywhere. You only have checkpoints. And because there's, I don't think that there's any enemies in the last checkpoint of the game. So the last checkpoint is like pretty far back. So it took me, it takes like between 5 and 10 minutes just to get from the last checkpoint back to the final door, and it still didn't open for me. So I looked up a guide. I'm like, how do I open this freaking door? And someone so I watched a guide, and what they did was exactly what I did on my first time. I'm like, that's exactly what I did. Why didn't the door open? I was right. The door had glitched. The thing was, when I reloaded the save and I did it a second time, it glitched on me a second time, but in a different manner. So it still didn't open. So I had to reload the save again, go through like the last 15 minutes to get to the end. Then on the third time, the door finally freaking opened and I got to the final cutscene. So just getting through that last door took like an hour 15 or something stupid just to get to that last part and get that last achievement.
Sounds like what happened to you last night in Dark Souls.
That
one of the achievements glitched on you.
Oh yeah, with the achievement glitch. I was like, I didn't get glitched on any doors, but yeah, none of the achievements.
At least that achievement is one of those ones that's easy to get again.
Yeah, so yeah, on Dude Souls last night, I should have gotten an achievement after beating the wolf, but it didn't give it to me, so I'll have to wait till my next playthrough, and hopefully it'll unlock that time.
Like I said, worst case scenario, you do have to go through the game 3 times to kill that exact boss 3 times.
So. Yeah, I do plan on getting the completion in Dark Souls. I am only planning on doing the first playthrough on stream, so after that, I don't plan on doing the rest of it on stream. But I do plan to get the completion, but I'll talk to you about that stuff.
Just make sure you talk to Solaire every time you can, so you can actually use them in the smoke fight.
Yes, I will have to make sure I do that. But anyways, last thing on Scorn, the final cutscene, I was like, that was terrible. Basically, the whole point, it was one of those games where you kind of just wake up and go through the game without any idea of what's going on, why. There's no story, there's no dialogue. The game, there has no music. There's a little bit of sound effects. It's like, I didn't think about this until literally just now. It's basically a lot of what I have to say about Limbo, which was a very popular 2D puzzle platformer back in the day, which was decent. But they basically did the same thing with Limbo and their follow-up game, which was also very popular, which was Inside. These games where you just wake up, there's no dialogue, there's no storytelling, nothing. You're just in this world.
Start walking right.
You start walking right. You get to the end of the game. There's no explanation of absolutely anything on why anything is the way it is, why anything is happening in the game. Nothing. And this game did that exactly. The
original Super Mario Brothers almost did that. The only thing is, you have the ending cutscene where it shows that you saved the princess.
Yeah, like at least that one, you know what you're working towards. This one, it's like you're just doing stuff because it's there, not because there's like any reason for it or anything. And you get to the end, and the final cutscene is like, oh, well, that was entirely pointless. So I gave it a 2 out of 5 on True Achievements. If it because the puzzling was good, I will give it that the puzzling was good, but the combat was terrible, and the story or lack thereof was awful, and I ran into a couple glitches right there at the end of the game. So it could have been much better with a few tweaks. I'd probably bump it up at least another point to a 3 if that was addressed. But yeah, Panic played that before it left Game Pass because it was a pretty easy completion, and I like puzzle games. So that was I started that on the 2nd, and I completed it on the 10th. So that was really the main thing I had to talk about on the Xbox side of things. Another game that I was a quick completion and was leaving Game Pass at the end of the month, so I panic played it. It was called Frog Detective, and it was this cutesy little like cell shaded game where you're this frog detective and you solve like these 3 cases. It's basically a point and click adventure.
So James's preferred game.
Yeah, probably. It was silly. It had some good humor in it. It made me chuckle a couple times, so it was cute. But not much to say about it. It was like a 2 to 3 hour completion. Uh, I I took my time, like using it to keep my achievement streak alive. So I was doing like one achievement a day until the end of the month. Um, so the other thing that I did want to talk about on the Xbox side of things is this will be. I have to go back and look, but True Achievements has done a number of community events this year. I think. Let's see here. Oh, July, September. They didn't do one in August or I didn't join it. I'd have to go back and look. But
What does Carl mean? He missed the stream,
oh, hey, what's up, Carl?
or he just missed? Did he just not get the alert?
Oh, did you not get the alert? Yeah, well, we haven't been going that long. Let me see. We're still
Only
live.
30 minutes.
So yeah, it's still going. But they had a July event. They had a September event. They had an October event. They're doing a November event, and there'll be the 12 Days of Christmas in December. So out of the last half of the month, they'll have had a event for every month except for August, unless I just missed that one.
Worst timing, because this was the year that GameCube got released on Retro Achievements.
Yeah, but I've been participating in them. I did the July event, which was the Boss Rush. I did the Alphabet event in September, and the Trick or Treat event in October, which they did last year as well. And the rules were basically the exact same as last year. And I remember talking about this on Achievement Chasers last year, where in order to get participation credit, you had to do at least 13 tricks or treats, with at least 5 of them being one of each. So I alternated it between, I did a trick and then a treat, and until I got the 10 I needed for that. And then I think I did two treats and a trick. And one of them is I forget which is which, but one of them is where it selects a list of 10 locked achievements, and you just have to unlock one of the ones that it picks for you. And then the other one is it gives you a challenge, like get 300 gamer score in this genre of games, or get 3 achievements that have this type of flag on it, like a co-op flag or something along those lines. So I participated in that. So I played a bunch of different games again. That's why I've got other than Frog Detective and Scorn, I have like 15 games where I got like 1 achievement in them because of this event. I know that's why you don't like doing those events.
Yeah, I don't.
But I like to participate in these events, and for these games, what I'll get achievements in them for events like this. But then when I all right, I'm gonna sit down and play this game through, I start from the beginning and play through the whole game. So because I don't like playing through a game piecemeal like that over a long period of time. If I'm going to do it, like I'll play a little bit each day, that's fine. But if it's like I'll do an achievement here and then an achievement in a couple months, which is basically what I did with Immortals Phoenix Rising for the longest time. I had owned it for like 4 years, and I had gotten, the only time I had played that game was for events just like this. And then I went back and I started from the beginning.
Piecemealing it so much.
Yeah, but I that's always the plan. Is like I'm gonna use these games for achievements for events like this. But then when I sit down and like, all right, I'm playing through this game, I start from the beginning. So when I decided, I think I did Immortals earlier this year, and I was like, I started from the beginning and played through it in its entirety. But the annoying part of that is when you play through like the first 5 hours of the game and you don't get any achievements because you already have them.
Yeah, true.
So, but yeah, I completed that event with the 13 that you needed in order to complete it, and that was fun. And they do have a November event that just started, which I am participating in as well. I'm trying to pull it up here because I don't even remember. Oh, that's right. It is genre bingo, which is, it gives you a bingo board that's 5 by 5, and each one has a genre, and all you got to do is get an achievement in a game that has that genre tag. So, and one of the monthly targets for the month is getting an achievement in 20. It was 30, but a lot of people were complaining, so they lowered it to 20. But get an achievement in games in 20 different genres. But some games have like 4 or 5 genres on them, so one achievement can knock out 5 genres for you. For the target, however, for the genre bingo event, if they do have like 5 or 6 genres on them, your first achievement will unlock the first genre listed because they're listed alphabetically. Then your second achievement will unlock the second genre, and so on. So if you have 6 genres on a game and you want to unlock all of them, you got to get 6 achievements in that game to get them all. So I'm going for a blackout. This was a popular event last year, so all you could get in order to get a credit for participating, you just have to get 1 bingo, and then if you want, you can get a new board, because that's something they added. Because last year people like, I finished it, but I want to do it again. But this year they're like, hey, once you've gotten a bingo or a blackout or whatever, you can then request a new board to do it over again until the event is over at the end of the month. So I'm not going to do that, but I am going for a blackout because I want to get all these genres both on the board and the one that counts for the monthly target. So I've got about, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 so far. So I'm about half of the board so far. I've not gotten any bingos yet because I've just been getting random ones. If I was only going for like 1 bingo for getting credit, I would have beelined it for just the 4 achievements I need, because obviously, as like a bingo card, the middle spot is the free spot. But yep. I'm just getting I'm just looking at like, all right, I'll just get, I created a spreadsheet of what games I have that qualify for each one. I'll look at my little spreadsheet and be like, I'll play that one right now, and I'll just get an achievement. So I'm not paying attention to where they are on the board. I'm just playing them here and there and getting achievements all over the board. So that's been fun. And I plan to do a blackout and get 1 in each of the genres that are on my board. And that should also knock out my monthly target for getting an achievement in. Originally it was 30 genres, but now it's 20. So I'll easily knock that one out. I'm at 13 so far, because bronze medal is 10. It was 10, 20, 30, but they knocked it down to bronze is still 10, but then silver is 15 and gold is 20. So I'm at 13. So I need 2 more for silver and then another 5 on top of that for gold, which will be easy going for this. So and then next month we'll have the 12 Days of Christmas again, which is my favorite event of the year. So
because you just don't care about your completion percentage.
Oh, I do care about my completion percentage. It's just I try not to start any new games because I don't want to drop until I'm ready to. As I've been saying for a couple of years now, I've been working on getting my achievement percentage back up to where it was. Then I'm starting a ton of new games. I'm trying not to start new games unless they're ones that are leaving Game Pass in a couple weeks. So if I have to, I'll start a game for a contest like this, but I'll try to find one that has like the lowest number of achievements in it so that it won't hurt my achievement percentage, my completion percentage. It'll do the least damage, so to speak. But I try not to start any, if at all possible. Until I get to, recover my percentage. Then I'm starting a crap load of games. Then it'll make these events so much easier because I'll have so many games to pick from. So, but yeah, that is about it for me on the Xbox side of things. So, you can go ahead and then I will get into my retro achievement stuff when you after your next one.
Just referencing Carl with the alphabet thing.
Carl, 30 minutes. I missed everything. Yeah, I missed everything just a little bit. Alphabets
with
event. Sir,
this is a gaming stream, not a gaming stream.
Sir, that's June. Not that type of alphabet. The actual alphabet, the letters. So yeah, go ahead and what do you got next?
I guess I'll talk about the next 3, which were I think the only Xbox games I played this month, but because they're digital only, I don't have them physically here, so I'm going to use previous releases like I did last time, because it's the same thing as last time, but it's later games. I went through Final Fantasy 2. This is the original first release in America, which was PS1.
That's right. Before you get too deep into this, after one of our, I think it was after Dude Souls a week or so ago, I was looking at my Xbox leaderboard, and Dude was ahead of me by like 300 gamer score for the month, and we had like a few days left in the month. I'm like, I could probably make that up, but he's playing all these Final Fantasy games, and he beat me in the month on the gamer score leaderboard. He got more gamer score than I did.
Yep. So Final Fantasy 2, Final Fantasy 3. Sadly, the Final Fantasy 3 wasn't physically released on as a 2D game until the Pixel remasters. And
right, we were talking about that last month.
So this is actually the 3D version on the DS, and of
Oh,
course
okay.
the original release of Final Fantasy IV, which was Final Fantasy II.
Okay.
This is before they. This is whenever they started rename. This is when they renamed the games to, so that people were like, "Where's 2 and 3 in America?
Yeah, when if they just released them as
1 and 2."
one.
And
Yeah,
when it
they
was
did
1 and
release them
4,
as one and two, but they were
1 and 4.
1 and 4. Okay, I was thinking that they were 1 and 3.
Yeah. So pretty much with pretty much it's the same deal as the first game. You just go through the game, fight all of the enemies, and open all the chests. Final Fantasy 2 is kind of considered the black sheep of the franchise because of the way you level up in the game. It's more like Oblivion, where you have to level up by doing things.
Oh, okay.
So you level up your each of your weapon skills by just using that weapon, and you level up spells by using that spell.
Okay.
So like your cure is like level 1 when you first learn it, but then as you use it, it increases in level, but it also requires more MP to use. So like cure 2 requires 2 MP, 3 requires 3, all the way up to 15. But
Okay.
it's also way stronger whenever you level it up as well. So
So it's worth the added
worth
requirements.
worth the grind, yeah. And there was an achievement for actually maxing out one of your magics, and cure is easily the easiest one to do it because you can use it outside battle quite
Oh,
often.
okay. That's nice.
So, and it does level up while you're outside of battle as well. So, but it was also the first time they actually tried implementing a character story because your characters are people you're playing as are actual characters. So, which was interesting on the
What
original
exactly do you
Nintendo.
mean by that?
Well, in the very first game, it felt more like you were a D&D party that was just going around saving,
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
fixing people's issues with the that were there.
Were the characters in the first one named, or were they just like nameless characters?
You named them yourself, and you chose which classes they were.
Okay, so this
Which
one
is
they were actually like predetermined characters.
Yes, you could still rename them, but they had actual names.
Okay, yeah, kind of like you can always pick your name in Zelda, but his name is canonically Link.
Yeah, but what's weird is in Final Fantasy 2, almost every fourth party member that comes into your party event and almost always ends up dying,
The red shirts.
except for the female pirate and your lost friend at the end of the game.
How many party members do you get in that game?
Well, there was enough that in the GBA version they created a new story where they're in hell trying to fight the emperor from returning to the world of the living, and you have a full party in that.
How many characters is a full party?
In that game, it was 4.
Okay.
In some Final Fantasies, it's 5, but this one was 4.
And I think I asked you this last month, but you, you this wasn't like a first time playing of these classic ones. You've played them before on
For
other
the Final
versions.
Fantasy 2, it was not my first playthrough. I played through that one a couple of times. For But with Final Fantasy 3, it was my first time actually playing it all the way through because I've tried playing this DS one, but I couldn't get past the first continent. But this one actually feels a lot like the first game, but it had the job system where you could actually change which job you were using on each character anytime you wanted. So
Okay.
that was where the job system came into play in Final Fantasy a bit more. That's used in the later games as well. So kind of like how in World of Warcraft you had your rogues and your knights. Pretty much the same. It's pretty much Final Fantasy 3 allows you to switch between them on the same character
Okay.
if you want. So, but Final Fantasy 3 has a lot in common with the first Final Fantasy, except it has more interactions with the people you're helping. But it's still just 4 nameless people going around saving the world and just saving the world one village's troubles at a time.
Okay.
So
And so you were playing through 1, 2, and 3, you said?
2, 3, and 4.
2, 3, and 4. Okay. And did
I
you
went through 1 through last month, the
Okay,
previous month.
that's right. Okay, so you did 1 last month and you
Yeah.
did 2, 3, and 4 in October.
I think now that I've played Final Fantasy 3 all the way through, I think it's personally my least favorite Final Fantasy so far. I even put 13 above it because I actually like the combat system in 13, especially whenever you start getting into the optional content. But
Okay.
3 is just kind of a little too bare bones. Like at least with 1, it's bare bones. It's bare bones in a way that it's actually not too bad. It's actually kind of fun replaying it because you can change change the party you have. But with Final Fantasy 3, you can change on the fly, so there's always going to be like the optimal team to be for each fight.
Okay.
So,
and did you complete 2, 3, and 4? Because I know they're not terribly long completions.
And 4 is the one I played through the most.
Okay.
The Final Fantasy I played through the most. So this was just like a trip down memory lane for me.
Nice. Yep, I've got something kind of similar to that to talk about here very soon.
But for Final Fantasy 4, it actually is where they started actually getting the characters done right.
Okay.
So and getting an interesting character arcs going. So.
Okay. So. Yeah, so that's why you beat me on the leaderboard. You got the 3,000 from those Final Fantasies.
Yep.
And I
wasn't even really trying to beat you at the leaderboard.
Yeah, I know. And I already closed it. I'll have to pull it up here. Let me see how much I even had. No, it defaults to November. I want to go back to October. So I had 3310 was my gamer score for the month. And on my True Achievement Friends list, I was 56th out of 95. So I was like in the bottom half.
So wait, you had 3310 at the end?
Yeah, that was my gamer score.
So you should have beaten me because I had only 3,000. Unless I had a couple more achievements that I had finished up in Final Fantasy 1 at the very beginning of the month.
I can't see it. Where are you? Should show up here. No, that's the wrong dude.
Wait, you have more than one dude on your...
I have 3 friends with dude in their name. There's you, Dude1286. I have Rocker Dude, and there is Dude with the Face. And oh, you know what? It's because on True Achievements, it goes by your time zone, whereas on Xbox, it's like on Universal Time or something, because the month resets at like 5 p.m. my time. So I probably passed you up at probably that. No, because I'm looking at it right here, and oh no, you did beat me by a decent amount. You're lower on the leaderboard here because it ranks it by True Achievement score, not by gamer score. I had 3310, but you had 4,000 exactly.
Oh, so I think I just finished the very first Final Fantasy in like the first couple of days of the month. Then
probably because you have 4,000 exactly, and you had 5,200 TA. I had 3,300.
Yeah, because those
score, but I had 6,000.
The Final Fantasy games are not high on the true the ratio because they're pretty easy to get the achievement lists.
Yeah, so I'm on my friends list at least. I'm at 56 and you're at 60. But you had 109 achievements and I only had 61. So I had a higher ratio, but lower gamer score for the month of October.
Gotcha.
So, but yeah. I just got a bunch of achievements here and there. Oh, I did get. Let's hear it. I swear it was just like, it was for one of those trick or treats. I mentioned it a couple months ago because I was panic playing Shadow Warrior 3, and I just decided to give up on that last achievement because it was already like 1 a.m. and I had to play through like half the game to get the last achievement. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave this one sitting with one achievement left. It's gonna bug me, but whatever. And then like a week later, it went on sale for like 75% off. So I picked it up for $10 because I think normally it's 40. And I hadn't gone back and gotten that one achievement yet, but it showed up in the trick or treat event as one of my achievements that I could get. I'm like, all right, knock out 2 birds with 1 stone. Get one of the trick or treats done and finish off that game and get that last achievement. So that was one of the things that I did. And then of course, I wasn't achievement hunting the game, but I've been playing through Dark Souls, so I got 6 Dark Souls achievements over the course of October through our Dude Souls streams.
Should have had 7.
Well, that last night was November, so that wouldn't have counted
True.
towards October.
True.
So, okay, so you did 2, 3, and 4. 3 out of those. Well, you said 3 is out of all Final Fantasy is your least favorite.
Yes, and that's mainly because of how just kind of meh the characterization of your characters are. They just feel like dolls, more or less. Like the first game, but like I said, the first game is replayable. The third game doesn't feel as replayable.
So, since you've played through the 1 through 4 of the Pixel remasters, you haven't gone to 5 and 6 yet, or you haven't played through them in their entirety. Okay, out of 1 through 4, which one is your favorite?
4.
4, because that's when you played the most.
Yep,
that makes sense. So, okay, cool.
I think with the first 4, it'd be 4, 1, 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, that's your order: 4, 2, 1, 3 from the
4,
top
1,
down.
2, 3.
4, 1, 2, 3. Okay, that makes sense. So, okay. Anything else on Final Fantasy?
Nope. Eventually I'll get to 5 and 6.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, I think I just covered everything on the Xbox side of things. So everything else I have to talk about is on the retro achievement side of things. The lowest thing on here, let me see, and that's just because I had last played it on the 1st of October. So I'll just kind of work my way up this list, even though there are other games that I played before it, but then I played again after it, so it's not exactly in the right order. But I started this in September, and I didn't master it, but I did beat the game on October 1st, and that was my first game or technically the second game I played on Metroidvania Monday, because I just started that not too long ago. The first game I played was a co-op stream with Icefire on Journey to the Savage Planet. But after that, all of it has been me playing through the Metroid games, and I just decided I put it up to a poll when I did the second episode, which is the first one I did solo, of what do I play. I think my poll was like a Metroid game, an Ori game, I think Prince of Persia Lost Crown, because I really want to play that one, or something else. I think that was the option, was something else, and Metroid won by a landslide. So all right, I'll just start with Zero Mission. And it was playing through Zero Mission. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to play through all of them. I was originally planning on just doing the 2D ones, but after I was like, you know what? I'm going to play through since Prime, the Prime games are on there now. I'll play through all of them. But right now I'm making my way through all the 2D ones. So I started with Zero Mission because it had been a very long time since I played it, and I beat it on October 1st. I will never get the completion in that one because that one's got some ridiculously stupid, difficult speedrun achievements that I'm not even going to bother with.
I've told you before that those were in there by the developers themselves. So
yeah, we talked about that on, I think, last month. Since
for both Zero Mission and Fusion, that's how it is.
Yeah. Since I started this in September, I'm pretty sure we talked about that on Achievement Chasers on last month. But I've got 27 out of 55, so I don't even have 50% of the achievements. And I'll make a hard run eventually, and that'll get me another 8 to 10 achievements for beating each of the bosses on hard mode. But there are so many of these that I'm never going to bother with that I will never get to completion in this, which I hate leaving a game with that low of a completion. I like having at least 90%, but I don't think I'm going to get, and by that, I'm talking about achievements, not the score, because if I have like 90% of the achievements, but only like 30% of the score, because those last 10% of achievements have all the score value tied to them, I don't really care about that. I'm more so about the achievement completion percentage. So, but I hate leaving it with such a low completion percentage, because I'm below 50% right now.
Especially with it being Metroid.
Yeah, and it being a Metroid, I'm at 49%. So I think once I'm all said and done, and I'm essentially done with that, I'm probably going to be like around 60%, which is painful. But some of these achievements are just stupid hard. So it's a great game. If you're a completionist like we are, I would almost say don't play it for the achievements. But it was good to play through it again because I haven't played through it in a very long
that's
time.
part of the reason why I haven't really started the GBA ones, because I know that we're gonna have to go and try and get the speedrun ones.
Yeah. So I beat that one, and I'm now playing through AM2R. I think I am getting close. I think I've only got like the screw attack and one other power up left to go on AM2R. I haven't looked into it, but when I was looking at the map, I'm like, there is still a lot of the map that I don't have uncovered. But when it comes to the items, I don't have many items left as far as I assume. So I don't really know exactly how far into the game I am, but I've lowered the lava level like 4 or 5 times already. So I feel like I'm getting close to the end. But there are in-game. No, I think AM2R has in-game achievements, but that doesn't really count. I haven't really even looked at them to see. I think it has in-game achievements, or I'm getting mixed up with something else. But I'm currently playing through AM2R, and then I'll do Fusion, then Super Metroid, and then Dread, and then I'll get to the Prime games.
Super Metroid's completion is not that bad. So
okay, I'm looking
outside
forward
of
to playing...
outside of 1 or 2 achievements, it's actually pretty simple.
Okay. I'm very much looking forward to getting to Super Metroid again, because I was saying this on Metroidvania Monday on Monday, that of the, not counting Dread because I only got it this year and it's the newest one, out of the 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the ones I'd played, since I'd never played a version of 2 before now, but I've played Zero Mission, Fusion, and Super Metroid. Super Metroid is the one I played the least. I played Zero Mission and Fusion way more than I played Super Metroid. So
I played Super Metroid way more than the other 2.
So I'm very much looking forward to getting into Super Metroid and play it again, because it's been, I think I've only played it twice. And the last time I played it, I think, was in 2016. So it's been a while. So I'm very much looking forward to getting to it. But I'm having a lot of fun with AM2R. I've got a couple of little gripes with it, but overall, it's fantastic.
I mean, some of the gripes are probably from the original game as well.
That's the thing, since I haven't played it yet, I will be playing it, because you convinced me, because I've mentioned this anytime I talk about Metroid 2. Dude here wrote the achievements. Yeah, wrote the achievements on retro achievements for the original Metroid 2 Game Boy. So he wrote the achievements. So I will be playing the Game Boy version eventually, but I haven't played it before, so I don't know how much difference there is between AM2R and the original version. Whether these are
just
issues that
definitely
carry
play
over.
It with a map open next to you.
Okay.
So,
or whether this is something that they changed in AM2R and it's something I have a gripe with the maker of AM2R rather than the original game.
And then when Retro Achievements add 3DS support, you can finally do Samus Returns.
I will happily do that, because I haven't played Samus Returns, but yeah, it's AM2R is definitely great. I'm having a great time overall. My two
Let's
biggest
just say
issues,
Samus Returns crawled so that Dread could run, but Metroid doesn't crawl.
Yeah, why can't Metroid crawl? But yeah, my 2 biggest issues, and I think this is something from the original, just my guess, is that my first 2 AM2R streams, I got stuck and I didn't know where to go, because the critical path to the new items is in hidden areas that are not obvious.
Yeah, there's some of that in the first game, in the original game.
But yeah, so Zero Mission was the first thing I played in October, because Metroidvania Monday fell on October 1st, and I finished up the last segment of Zero Mission, and it was fun that DJ Axis hopped on, and he was like, with what we're doing with Dude Souls, he hopped in a Discord call and we just chatted for a while, because he was I've played Zero Mission a few times. It's just been a very long time, so it was almost like a first playthrough for me. And he was very familiar with it, so he was kind of giving me tips and stuff, because it's been so long for me. So and then after I beat it, we just sat there and chatted for like an hour before I ended the stream. So it was good to chat with DJ Access, because he's a great guy, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. So that was a fun stream. So I got plenty of other retro things to talk about, but I think we'll go ahead and switch back to you for your next one, or do you want me to go with another one? Because
I've still got quite a few games, so it's
okay.
Anytime going back to me is gonna get at least 2 more games.
All right.
So next one is actually a new console that I haven't shown on here, and that is Genesis.
Or as Retro Achievements calls it, Master Drive.
Mega Drive.
Mega Drive, that's right.
So I played I finally sat down and played through Streets of Rage.
And
That's
tell us,
just
why did you switch consoles?
it's just because it just felt weird not having that many Genesis games. Originally, I was looking for a Saturn game, but for some reason the emulator wasn't working on my computer.
No, that's not what I meant. Was because you have already met your 30-point requirement to get the gold medal for the GameCube launch event.
Yeah,
So you went on to playing other platforms, whereas everything that I've been playing on Retro Achievements, uh, I've been playing some Game Boy, Advance for Zero Mission. But that was because of Metroidvania Monday. Whereas everything else I've been playing in my free time that hasn't been on stream has been all GameCube because of the GameCube event.
yeah. So for me, I was thinking about okay, there's some consoles that I've completely been neglecting, like Genesis, because technically I have two masteries in that. One of them has had achievements added to it.
Oh, after you mastered it,
Yeah, and
that's annoying.
I haven't played many Genesis games, so I was like, let's go and play some Genesis because, like I said, I was trying to get the Saturn working and it just wasn't working, and I just wanted to play something Sega.
I'm assuming the Saturn one is its own emulator that's not built into RetroArch.
It's a built into RetroArch. It's just for some reason on Linux it wasn't working.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
It was my first time trying to get it to work. At least the couple of games I was trying to get it to work. The one game I did end up getting working was Sonic 3D Blast. Let's just say that's not a well regarded game as much.
Oh, okay. Which I
That's
like.
3D Blast is the isometric one.
Oh, I have played that one over at a friend's house. It's one of the like 2 Sonic games I've played.
Yeah, and I only started that one just to see if it would even work, and it started working. I'm like, out of all the games, it had to be this one. Because I wanted to use this Sega Saturn controller that's a USB controller. I wanted to use it for something because I've had it for a long time and just never used it. So then I was like, okay, what do I have on Genesis? And I saw Streets of Rage, and I was like, I'll play Streets of Rage. And this one took me a lot longer than I thought it was going to.
It's funny because I was never a Genesis kid, so only time I played Genesis was over at friend's house. And I got, because I know Streets of Rage is a popular one, I got this one mixed up with, for some reason, I got it mixed up with Rampage for the longest time. The one with the, not like by visuals, but just by name. Whenever someone was talking about Streets of Rage, I was envisioning Rampage in my head, the one with like, the
I mean, I can understand if you were mixing up with Final
lizard.
Fight over on Super Nintendo.
And then at one point, I'm like, oh, Streets of Rage. That's not Rampage. Those are 2 different beat 'em ups. So that was just something I had mixed up in my head for a long time as a kid.
Yeah, so mainly the game asks you to beat the game on normal difficulty with each character, and then it asks you to beat it on the hardest difficulty without continuing. That one took me a few tries. And then there was one where you actually had to beat each level without dying, and that one wasn't too terrible until I had to get to the final level. Luckily, for the one where you beat the level without dying, you can use the cheat to do level select.
Okay.
So I pretty much just went through the rest of the game. I tried getting all the other achievements before going for that one, and I beating the game on hard without continuing was very satisfying. But beating the final level without dying once was kind of annoying, especially with how the final boss acts, because he hits you like 2 times and you're dead. So, and that's with you being at full health.
Oh my goodness!
And by the way, the way this game works, the final level is a boss rush.
Oh, fun!
So you had to get used to all. You had to understand how to beat each boss as efficiently as possible without getting hit. I ended up getting to a point where I was able to beat all of them without getting hit. But
Nice.
luckily there was health items in between boss fights though.
Okay.
So it ended up getting to the point where I was having more trouble with the regular enemies than the bosses. Although I did get tired of one of the bosses, the one right before the final boss, because the way I'd started doing it was I was using the special move where you use the jump and the attack button at the same time. But for some reason the emulator either the emulator or the controller wasn't acting right, so there would be times where it wouldn't register them being touched at the same time. So I ended up doing like one of those joy to key programs where you could convert your controller inputs to keyboard inputs.
Okay, I was like, Joy to Key. That sounds familiar. I swear I've
So
tried to
I
use that
pretty much
before, but
did
I don't
that
know if I
since
was
I
ever
had I
successful.
pretty much did that because I had a Saturn controller, and I because the Saturn controller is a 6-button face
Right.
instead of just a 3-button face that the base Genesis game has, and of course the 2 shoulder buttons. So what I did was I set one of the top buttons to being the jump and the attack button at the same time, so I only had to press the one button,
Okay.
and ended up getting the achievement a couple tries after that.
Nice.
Because it wasn't that I couldn't do it; it's just that the controller just kept on not registering both buttons at the same time, and
Yeah,
to the point
okay.
where I was getting hit.
I've
Because
had
of the
that
way.
problem on some not even emulated stuff. I've had that
Yeah.
issue on I went into depth about it on my first open mic with Jake, that using my Ion drum kit with Rock Band,
Mhm.
if you're holding it has something to do with like the pedal, you
Mhm.
can't hit 2 cymbals at the same time, which makes it very difficult when you have to hit your foot pedal and 2 cymbals at the same time.
Yeah.
Being able to do it and keep your streak going is nearly impossible because you can't hit them at the same time. You have to offset them by like a split second. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
So yeah. But other than that, it wasn't too terrible. So I mean, Streets of Rage is just 8 levels of beat 'em up, so there's not much to talk about.
Okay. Yeah, I played. Um, I've not played very many beat 'em ups at all, but I did play. I think Streets Rage 1, 2, and 3
Well, I
on
know you played
Xbox Live Arcade.
I know you played the Shredder's Revenge game.
Yeah, well, that I played that on my alt account because I wasn't planning on actually playing that, so I don't have that on my Neo tag. That's on my alt account.
You know what's funny? That's not even that hard of an achievement set, outside of the beating Shredder without getting hit. But you could be like our friend who ended up getting the achievement by I
Oh,
think it was
Paul!
Paul.
It was Paul.
Yeah, because remember he got
He showed up at the last second and got the achievement, and I didn't. I was there the whole fight.
yeah, because you actually got hit.
Yeah, that was
It's because
pretty
he got
stupid.
lagged out and then he came back in at the end of the fight, so it counted as him not getting hit.
Yeah. So yeah, I did do the Sega Vintage Collection of Streets of Rage on Xbox Live Arcade, but that's a pretty easy one. It's
It
like
was
two
an
to
easy
three
one, yeah.
hours. So I want. Oh yeah, I never bought it. I was like, why do I own this? It's because I got it through Games with Gold. So I did that back in April of 2020. So that was a while ago. But yeah, other than that, I played very little beat 'em ups.
Gotcha. But yeah, most beat 'em ups are pretty quick, so that's why there's not really much to talk about.
Yeah, I mean they're arcade games, so
Yeah,
they're
and when it comes to Streets of Rage, it's actually better to just do single hits to keep enemies in stun lock on the hardest difficulty.
oh rather than
No,
okay rather than like spamming it.
rather than finishing up the combo so they get pushed away.
That makes sense. Kind of
Because if
like
you have like
yeah,
3 or 4
yeah,
if you have
yeah,
3 or 4
yeah.
enemies in front of you, you can just keep jabbing them and they just stay stun locked.
While we're on the topic of Streets of Rage, I know Streets of Rage 4 was pretty popular, and that came out not that long ago.
I
It
have
was on
not
Game
played that one.
Pass. Okay. Let's say I don't know if it still is on Game Pass, but I know it was. I think it left Game Pass, but yeah, I was curious what your take was on that. But you answered my question. Have not played it yet.
I did play it for a moment when I was going through all my Xbox games, and it seems to be fine. But I only
Yeah.
played for like 5 minutes just to make sure it was working off the disc, not anything else.
Okay. Yep. It is no longer on Game Pass. It's a 70 to 80 hour completion. Wow.
Probably because it asks you to play through the game. Probably because it asks you to level up every character or something like that.
Yeah, let's see. And it's got some DLC.
And there's a lot of characters in that game.
The base game, the highest ratio achievement is an 8.7. My goodness. Get an S rank on all stages on hard or higher.
So it sounds like it's a Devil May Cry type of game.
It definitely sounds like it.
Although it's probably easier than Devil May Cry.
Probably, I would say so, based on what little I know about it. So, okay. Did you want to do more than one, or did you?
Yeah, I was going to do another one, and this is actually a game I just finished this week, and I had already started this game a long time ago, but I never actually went and finished it because the original set actually had some achievements that since I last played it, those hard achievements got put in their own subset.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, okay, okay, now that those achievements that were making me hate the game are no longer in the main set, I'll go and finish it up. And that is Super Mario 64.
Oh yeah, when I saw that you were playing that, I'm like, I'm surprised you hadn't already played that before. That was surprising.
You know what's funny? Tomorrow is my 4-year anniversary of starting the game.
Finally,
So
4 years later, you finally actually
yep.
sat down and put
But
your
the achievements that were
what's
causing
the
me pain were the ones where you had
grindstone?
to get every coin in the map in
Oh,
one go.
oh, okay.
And if you've played Super Mario 64 before, you
I
know
have,
why that's
but
a
when it
problem.
was new, I haven't played it in like
You know why that's a problem.
25 years.
Because most of the enemies will drop out a coin. Guess what happens whenever that coin goes in the lava or down a pit? You ain't getting it back, so that's a restart.
Yeah, that's annoying.
And you got to get over 100 coins in all the levels. And you have to get every single coin. So
Oh,
good luck
that's
with that.
how many times would you say you had to restart due to this stupid stuff with the coin
Quite a
falling
few
off?
times, and I ended up doing it about. Let me look at the list because the achievements got moved to a subset. They still kept the achievements, so I actually still have those achievements. I ended
Oh,
up doing
nice.
10 of the 18 levels.
Oh, in
So
this subset?
yes,
Nice.
before I before I just gave up. But the
But
one the one that gave me the one that I ended up just saying screw this, I'm out, was the one in Lethal Lava Land, which is the lava world.
okay.
And it's because there's two enemies that you have to push off an edge in the volcano, and you have to go follow the coin into the lava.
That is terrible.
Yes.
Why did they put an achievement for that in that world?
And why they put it in the main set?
Yeah, that is terrible.
Here's the thing, though. There's a couple of levels where it would have been fine to be in the base set, like Jolly Roger Bay. There. You know, there's a star in each of the main worlds for getting 100 coins,
Okay.
right? Guess how many coins are in Jolly Roger Bay?
98.
104.
Oh, just a little bit more than needed. Okay.
Yeah, so it's slightly more than needed, so it would make sense. And it's also one of the levels that has blue coins. So the last coin you get could end up being both the one that gets you the star and the achievement.
Because blue is worth 5, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I would say the Bowser ones weren't too bad because they're only 80 coins. But the fact that that lava one just completely deflated any desire I wanted to continue getting those achievements.
So, nope, I'm done with this. I'm going
And
back
what's
to
funny is that
the
the end game picture for the achievement or for the set is actually one of the enemies that's the problem in that level.
It's like rubbing salt in the wound.
Yes. But the fact that they moved those achievements out of the main set was what made me finally go back and complete the game.
Okay, so yeah, because I got it pulled up here, and there's 114 achievements, and yeah, mastered in 3 years, 11 months. So,
Yep.
how many? So yeah, you played it. This first row of achievements was in November of 2020. Second row. So yeah, you got a decent chunk of the achievements 4 years ago. How much would you say that you already had and you had to go back and do now?
I'm gonna count real quick.
Okay.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 40, 42 I ended up having to do this time around because
Okay.
I had pretty much done everything up to the second Bowser fight.
Okay, so yeah, I thought you had started it, gotten a couple achievements, but you had done a good chunk of it before.
Yeah. It's just
So,
that I didn't have the old save anymore, and
so you had to start from scratch.
yeah, it was like from 4 years ago because that was back when I was still on Windows.
Ah.
So who knows where that save is anymore?
You know what? That's a good point. I think I thought about this, and I was going to ask you about this like months ago, and I totally forgot. Like figuring out where they're saved, so I can back up my saves to like a cloud storage in case I ever
You just have to
switch
look for the
computers.
folder that RetroArch is in.
Okay, I should do that. Back that
But
folder up.
but because of the fact that I'd already done about 2/3 of the game, I just ran through and 100% got all the stars for the first 10 levels or 9 levels pretty much.
Okay, so did you play Super Mario 64 back in the day on N64? I assume.
Yes. And
Okay.
I did 100% it back when I was a kid, but I only did it once.
Yeah, I didn't 100% because I didn't own it.
Mm.
I only borrowed it or played it at other people's houses. Although I've talked about this before. Like I've ended up with some of my after they were like done with N64 stuff. I ended up with so I've got it in my N64 collection, but I never actually bought it myself. It just kind of ended up in my possession. Um, but I know I beat the game at least once, but I don't think I ever got all the stars. But I got most of them.
Gotcha. Well, now you have a reason to go get all the stars.
I'm not planning on playing Super Mario 64 on Retro Achievements, but I might.
To be honest, ever since they removed those get all the coins achievements, the set is not that bad.
Okay.
I would say the hardest ones are mainly getting like some of them is getting all the red coins without getting hit once, but some of the levels that's in is not too bad. There's only one missable achievement in the entire game,
Okay. What's that one?
and you can keep reattempting it if you don't get a star whenever you do it, and it's because there's a
Oh, there it is.
the level right before you get into the second Bowser fight or second Bowser world. There's a you go into a water world, and if you haven't gone into the Bowser section or the Bowser fight, there's a sub in there. So the achievement is to get the red coin star while the sub is there.
Yeah.
Because whenever the sub goes away and you beat Bowser, there's now going to be there's a different way to get the red that's intended to get the red coins.
Okay. But as long as you don't proceed, you can just keep trying it over and over until you get it.
Yes.
And then move on.
Yep.
Okay. That's not too bad.
And you can mainly just watch a video on how you're supposed to do all the jumps and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, this doesn't look too bad. Might.
I'd say the hardest achievements were getting all of the 1-up mushrooms in a single time you're in the
Oh yeah, I
in
was
a
just
world.
looking at that.
I would say Tiny Huge Mountain is one of the harder ones. And that's mainly because it has a couple that require you to find some butterflies, and whenever you find the butterflies, they go flying in different directions. And 2 of the 3 create bombs when you touch them, but the third one will create the 1-up mushroom. Thing is, though, you can touch all 3 and get all 3 to drop their items, so
Okay.
it's not too terrible.
I probably should play it just because it's such a cornerstone of gaming. I was just never big. I was never a huge Mario fan. I always thought Mario was overrated, even though
I mean, I do
Super
think it's
Mario World
overrated as well, but it's still a fun game.
Super Mario World was my very first video game I ever owned. So I'm absolutely going to play Super Mario World on Retro Achievements. I wasn't planning on doing Mario 64, but I probably will. I kind of need to.
I would just suggest finding an adapter that would be able to you'd be able to use an original N64 controller, because for Super Mario 64 it's kind of required.
Okay.
Because that original stick is how it works.
Yeah, I know.
You can get around it with other games like the Zelda games with their aiming. It's still annoying, but it's not nearly as bad because it's not the entire game that's the problem. But with Super Mario 64, it is designed for that original N64 stick.
Okay, because yeah,
and any modern stick pales in comparison to that original stick.
Interesting.
With how it's supposed to work.
That's because I never liked the N64 stick on the N64 controller back in the day either. So,
but Super Mario 64 will give you an appreciation for the original stick because it's like this is how it's supposed to be designed for.
Interesting. Okay, because not that long ago, I just got the urge to play some Ocarina of Time, and so I loaded it up. But you don't. The first achievement in Ocarina of Time is for beating the first dungeon, so you can play quite a bit of it without getting an achievement.
Yeah.
So I don't have any achievements in it, but I just wanted to boot it up, and I played it for like an hour, just to satiate the nostalgia for a little bit.
I do have a USB,
and I didn't have a problem with the controller or anything.
Yeah. Well,
I was using this one.
I have a USB N64 controller, but it's a third party controller, so because of that, it uses the modern stick components. So it does give me some issues, but I was still able to get Super Mario 64 completed with it.
Okay. So
it didn't feel completely right, but it still worked.
So yeah, I play a little bit of Ocarina of Time with this and didn't have an issue, but maybe if I try Super Mario 64, I might have an issue with it. We'll see.
Like I said, buy an original N64 controller and then find.
Oh, I've still got mine.
Oh, you do? If you do, just find an adapter. I have an adapter, but it only worked when I was on Windows. That's one of the few things
I'm on Windows, so
did. Yeah, so I could probably send you the link for that one.
Okay.
But ever since I moved to Linux, for some reason the driver doesn't work with it.
Gotcha. Yeah, just looking at this because I don't think I'd actually pulled up Super Mario 64 on Retro Achievements, and they actually have this as a genre collectathon. I was like, that's great.
Yep. But it's definitely not a bad definitely not a bad set now that they removed that subset.
Yeah. Okay.
And there are a couple of achievements in there that showcase like some of the tricks that speedrunners use, but you can get them within a couple tries.
Okay.
They're not like the super advanced. The hardest one that uses that trick,
crazy backflip up the stairs to go light speed trick.
No, they don't have that one. It's like the one where you can skip the slide in one of the levels. And literally since you're not doing the speed run trick, you can literally just jump off and then just use a kick to change your momentum back to being able to get to the star.
Okay.
It's not a difficult trick. I got it the first try. Nice. But I think the hardest one was definitely in the final level, which was Rainbow Road, because the achievement was getting one of the stars at the higher points without using the carpets.
Oh, okay, I do remember that level now.
But at least with that one, you can look up a video and see how to do it.
Okay.
As well.
You know
what? A lot of the achievements are like that. They actually have a video in the comments.
Okay. Yeah, I've noticed because Retro Achievements is not as the community is not as forgiving when it comes to achievements as like True Achievements, where you'll find guide for like every achievement on what's the easiest way to get this achievement. You don't find a lot of that on True Achievements. A lot of these achievements
it's mainly for the harder stuff that require a bit more knowledge.
Yeah, unless it's the more difficult stuff.
But it was like they're not going to give you a guide to finding all the stars in a level.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I think I will go ahead and add Mario 64 to my backlog of Retro Achievements games, and I will play that at some point. So, okay. Well, yeah, you finished that up and finally got the mastery in it in just under the 4-year anniversary. So, nice. I've got games that I've been on my tag for a lot longer than that I have not completed and likely never will. So, heck, I've got games that I started 4 years ago that are in my current dive that I still haven't gotten to playing. But unrelated, I just noticed this. I can't show you my mouse, but it's funny how in between our where our windows are on the screen, it has my Nerdy Neo logo, and my R goes perfectly into the RE on your boom on your mic stand. I just noticed that. I'm like, that goes perfectly.
How did we do that?
That's funny that they just lined up perfectly. So, all right. As for my next thing, so I'll kind of knock out 2 at one time here because this is the one that I've been talking about for like the last 3 months. Mega Man X Collection on GameCube. Because I basically put it on hold for a while because I was so fed up with Mega Man X6 because it is just so poorly designed. I basically put it on hiatus and barely touched it for a month. So
is it worse than 7?
No, 7 is still worse. But of the X games, not counting 7, since that one is basically a different genre than the other.
Which one's more memeable?
7 is definitely more memeable. But of the 2D Mega Man X games, which is everything except for X7, X6 is by far the worst. And I went into that probably like the last 2 episodes of Achievement Chasers. So I had put that on hold, and I barely played that at all in October or in September, I think. And I was like, I need a palate cleanser. So I went back and played my favorite Mega Man game, which is Mega Man X3 again. But I played another version that I had not played before because I didn't know this until I was talking to Dude about it a few months ago, and he pointed out to me that it has an achievement set on Retro Achievements. I was like, oh, even more incentive to play it. And so for the first time ever, I played through Mega Man X3 Zero Project, which is a fan-made hack of the game where you can switch back and forth between X and Zero at any time, because in the original game, you can switch to Zero once and only once. In this version, you can switch back and forth at any time. But since I played X3 so many times, I was like, I'm playing through the whole game as Zero. And there is no actual achievements. Like, I don't think there were any achievements tied to playing through the game as X and then playing it through it again as Zero, like there is in Mega Man X4, 5, and 6, where there's.
Well, that's because you already had the original version of X3 for
right.
X.
That's why I figured. But like on Mega Man X4 and 5, there's achievements for playing through it X4 as X and then X4 as Zero, and same thing for X5 and X6. So you have to play through each one twice to get. You don't have to, or well, actually, to get credit for this event, you do, because the win condition for the game is at least because the Mega Man X collection on GameCube is X1s through 6. And for 4, 5, and 6, because Zero is a playable character the whole time, you have to beat the game as X and you have to beat the game as Zero in order to get the beat the game achievement. But on the Mega Man X3, the Zero Project, it counts as a Super Nintendo game because X3 is a Super Nintendo game, but it's hacked so that you can switch back and forth, or you can play the whole game as X as you normally would. But I've already played that dozens of times because it's my favorite Mega Man game.
Time to play it as Zero.
So I played through the whole game as Zero, and it was fantastic. This is absolutely the definitive way to play through Mega Man X3. X3 was already my favorite, and then this just made it even better. So the Zero Project.
It's kind of funny when just a small change like that would make you want to make it better.
Yeah, and they did a great job on it. It is absolutely the definitive way to play X3. The one gripe I have with it...
No, it's definitely playing the Sega Saturn version.
Was there a Sega Saturn version?
Yes.
I did not know that there was a Sega Saturn version of X3. I know there's a PlayStation version, which I just found out, and I've ranted about that on this stream before. But I didn't know there was like a Saturn version as well.
Oh wait, no, I don't think there's an X3. There's an X4 for on Saturn, maybe.
That I did know that there was a Sega Saturn of X4. I was not. If there is a Sega Saturn version of X3, I did not know that.
There's a Rock Band X3 on Saturn.
Oh,
maybe it was one of those
Japanese
games that was Japanese only
on the Saturn. That makes sense.
Maybe it was a Japanese only.
If it's Rock Band and not Mega Man, then it's definitely the Japanese version. But yeah, if you're a Mega Man fan and have not played the Zero Project, I absolutely recommend it. It is fantastic. There are some really tough achievements, so I did not master it. I've only got 75% of the achievements, but I did beat the game. And one of the things that was a bit of an annoyance was that in the Mega Man X collection, each boss has one achievement for beating it without taking damage and another achievement for beating it without using any special weapons. So you can split that up into 2 separate runs. In the Zero Project, those are both combined into one achievement. So you have to beat it without taking damage and only using the X Buster or your Z Saber. You can't use any special weapons, which usually you use their weakness weapon to beat it without taking damage, and it's not too difficult. And then you just beat them with the X Buster, and you can take damage, and it's not too difficult to get either one of those achievements. But to beat them without taking damage and without using any special weapons, because usually their special weapons will stagger them allowing you some more time. Whereas when your X Buster never staggers them, so you're having to constantly like dodge around their attacks. Some of them are nearly impossible to do doing both of those at the same time. I got probably, I think about half of them, but I'd have to go back and pull it up. I haven't actually looked through it, but I did get a few of them. But on a few of them, I'm like, I give up. This is way too much of a hassle. So some of the achievements are quite difficult, but I beat it and I got 75% of the achievements. So that one's on the back burner for now. I'll probably go back and get a few more eventually, but not anytime soon. But it was the perfect palate cleanser I needed because X3 was already my favorite, and then playing through this version for the first time made it even better, and it was fantastic. Oh, the thing that I was going to say is the one gripe I have to say is not with the game. It's with the implementation of the achievements, because the change that the Super Nintendo versions of the Mega Man X games, Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3, you didn't actually save any progress. It gave you a code at the end of each level, and you plug that code in next time to resume where you left off, because I think it's a 4x4 grid of numbers 0 through 8. And so it uses that code to determine which bosses you've beaten and which items you have. So for going for certain achievements, it's easy on the Super Nintendo versions that are not the Zero Project. It's easy to generate a code that can give you either the items that you want or don't want for when you're going for specific achievements, where having certain items will make this a little bit easier, or not having certain items will make it a little easier. But in the Zero Project, it has save states. So you can't just put in a code to generate kind of the save state you want. If you want to have specific items and not have specific items, you have to start the game over again and go and get the ones that you want and avoid the ones that you don't want if you want to set yourself up for an easier time for certain achievements. So that was my one gripe about it, is that it's not like, because on the Mega Man X collection, it still has those codes, but they implemented a save state version where it just saves the code, and you just load your save and it automatically plugs in the code, and you hit start and you continue. But it keeps that save state or the codes in system in place, so you can still put in the code if you want, but you don't have to. You can just save and then it'll plug in the code for you. But you can go and generate a code and plug in the code that would work on your Super Nintendo game back in the day, and it'll still take you to wherever in the game you are with the certain bosses you want defeated and whatnot. But the Zero Project does not have that at all. There's no code system at all. It is only save states. That's my one gripe, is I wish it still had the codes in addition to the save states like the Mega Man X collection does on GameCube.
Gotcha.
So, but
I did look it up. Apparently the Mega Man X3 only came out on Sega Saturn and PlayStation in Japan and PAL regions, so
okay, that makes sense.
So. The PS1 version only came out in North America during the Mega Man X collection on GameCube in that era.
Okay, yeah, that's where I've ranted about that, because the PlayStation version of Mega Man X3 is trash.
Apparently the Saturn version didn't fare much better.
Oh, okay. Well, I was thinking about, since you mentioned it, well, I'm assuming it has an achievement set.
Well, Rockman 3 does, yes. Rockman X3.
X3 on the Saturn.
Yes.
So I was like,
so should that be your first? Should that be your first Saturn game to complete?
I don't know if I'll complete it, but I was like, maybe I'll play it. But if it's like this PlayStation version, I'm not going to bother, just because the PlayStation version sucked. But anyways, after that, I was like, yes, I was on the high of playing through X3 Zero Project. It was like, that's great. But then I'm like, now I got to go back to X6. But I finally toughed it out, and I finished, because I finished like where I'd put it on hold for like a month. I was right at the Sigma fight, right at the end of the game as X. And I had fought him a couple of times, but I think I'd like 2 or 3 times, and then it's like, I'll come back to this later, and I just didn't have any desire to come back. So then it sat there at that point for like a month, and I was like, all right, I got to get this knocked out because it's worth 3 points for the GameCube event. So I came back to it. I beat it with X, and then I was gonna do a speed run through it as Zero just to get that achievement for beating X6 with 0 to get the story completion for the GameCube event to get those 3 points. But I ended up playing through X6 again in a even more complete way than I did the first time, because as you go through the game, there's all these Reploids that you have to rescue, and they're just lying around the map. And certain ones will unlock certain abilities. But if there's these little enemies that float around, they're called nightmares. And if you don't kill them fast enough, they will kill the Reploid, and you cannot get it back. You have to start the game over again.
Oof.
If you care about it, because you don't have to save all the Reploids. There's not an achievement for that, but there is an achievement for unlocking all of the abilities. And so if one of the Reploids that has one of those abilities, because it's not random, it's always the same one. If you don't defeat the nightmare before it kills that Reploid, and you're going for the achievement for getting all the abilities, then you have to restart the game. So you could get through 99% of the game and you might lose one because you only have a few seconds to defeat the nightmare. It's easy, but sometimes they're in awkward places, or there's other enemies that you have to get by first in order to get to it.
Yeah.
So it can be a little bit annoying. So if you're going for it, that can be very frustrating. It's not too difficult, because if you see, a lot of the times they're in places where there's bottomless pits, and you can see like, oh, I'm not going to make it. I'm going to jump into the pit and die first so he doesn't kill the Reploid, and I'll get another chance. Not all of them are like that either, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to go for it. And I don't remember if there's actually an achievement for getting all of the abilities, but there's 4 different sets of abilities. There's like the standard abilities, there's X's abilities that are only apply to X, there's Zero's abilities, which obviously only apply to Zero, and then there's like the ultimate abilities. So there's like 4 sets of abilities, and there's an achievement for each of those 4 ability types for getting all of the abilities in that type. So like the ultimate ability, I think, has 6. I think X and Zero each have 6, and then like the main ones that can go to either of them has like 10. And I ended up getting all of the abilities, and I did unlock all 4 of those achievements. But I made a very thorough playthrough, and I got basically everything I could without banging my head against the wall. And I made it through to the end, and I beat the game with 0. And I think let me pull it up here and see if I did it, or whether I just got really close, because I've mentioned this on Achievement Chasers before, that each of the Mega Man X games in this collection has an achievement for beating all 2 or 3 versions. Each Mega Man X game in the collection has a different number of final bosses at the end. It's always versus Sigma, but some of them have like 2 phases and some of them have 3. But each of the 6 Mega Man X games in this collection have an achievement for beating all 2 or 3 phases of Sigma without taking damage. And I actually got it down pretty good. And I think I might have gotten that achievement on X6 for beating Sigma without taking damage. If I didn't, I'm going to let you continue here in a moment. I'm going to look and see if I did. If I didn't get it, I got really darn close and I gave up on it, but I might have gotten the achievement. But I finally finished it. I got the story completion for Mega Man X collection, and I've since moved on to other games. I have 322 out of the 407 achievements. So that is, that is 79% of the achievements. There's still a bunch more that I could go back and get for like beating some of the bosses without taking damage. I did get all of the ones for beating all the bosses using only the X Buster or the Z Saber and not any special weapons. But there's still a few bosses I have to go back and get the achievement for beating them without taking damage. Like in Mega Man X, where I was talking about Launch Octopus is a real pain, where I did make an attempt at it, but I got really close a few times, but I never actually did get it on this version. I do have it on the Super Nintendo version, but not on the GameCube version, the X Collection. So there's still probably another 20 or 30 achievements I could go back and get, but I was like, I'm burned out on this. I will come back to it eventually, but I have since moved on, and that's
you can always try and go back and just do one game at a time at this point.
Yeah, and 79%, that's a pretty good completion percentage for the game for now. So I'm like, I'll let that one rest for now. But that was, I was very happy to finally be, done with it for now. So
I mean, there are 15 people who have mastered that game.
There are. There is another game in it, and I think this is the only place this game exists. I don't think you can actually find like a cartridge of this game outside of the X collection, and it is you have to beat 3 of the games in the collection to even unlock it, and it's a kart racing game. I have not even touched it. I haven't even launched that one, but there are a few achievements for it. It abbreviates it on here for at the beginning of each
Battle
achievement.
and Chase.
Battle and Chase, thank you. Each achievement says which game it's in, whether it's X, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. But on that one, it just says B and C. It's like, I don't remember what that stands for. Battle and Chase, thank you. There are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's about 12 to 15 achievements in that kart racer game, but they don't count towards the story completion. So I may go back and give those a shot. I have no idea how difficult those achievements are. They might be super easy. They might be super difficult. I have no idea.
It seems like it might be just be unlocking each character in Grand Prix mode.
They're basically acquire all 4 Proto Man parts, acquire all 4 base parts, acquire all 4 Quick Man parts, acquire all 4 Iceman parts. So there's a bunch of achievements for unlocking all 4 parts of these different characters. I have no idea what that entails.
Yeah.
So
there's probably plenty of guides to figure that out.
So there's that game, and there's still a bunch of achievements that I could go back and get. So I will increase my completion percentage. I'll never master this one for sure because of some of these really difficult achievements, like beats all 3 versions of Sigma without taking damage. But I do plan to go back and get more of these achievements, but it'll be a while. So, that's another thing is there's an avid collector achievement, which is unlocking all like 18 items in the gallery. And I was like, what does it take to do this? Because as you play through it, random things are unlocking the gallery. I wasn't paying attention to it until I beat 6. And it's like, oh, I've got 14 out of the 18 things. So I had to and in the achievement guide, it doesn't say anything about what they are. I actually put a link in the achievement description for that one on where to go to find what it takes to unlock all of these items. So there were a few that I was missing, and I was like, do I bother with it again? Because some of them was I'm glad I talked about this because something I forgot that some of these items are you unlock for beating X4 with X and X4 with 0, but you have to sit through the entire credits for it to count. You'll get the achievement as soon as you beat it, but in order for this item to unlock in the gallery, you have to sit through the credits, which you can't skip. So, and I didn't know that. So, when I beat X4 and 5, I think I sat through the whole credits as X, but then when I played through it again as 0, because I did X on the first playthrough of each one of 4, 5, and 6, and then when I went back through the second time, I played through it as 0. And so when I beat it with 0, after I got the achievement for beating it, I just backed out of the game. And so it didn't get credit. So I didn't know that. So I'd basically beaten everything. I was like, looking at this guide for how to unlock all the items, like beat X5 with 0, beat X6 with 0. I'm like, I already did. It's like, and I was like, oh, you know what? It's probably because I didn't sit through the whole credit. So I loaded up my save. Fortunately, I could just resume from the very end of the game. I just had to go beat Sigma again and then sit through the credits, and then it counted. So I didn't have to play through the whole game again. So I had to do a little bit more after I beat X6, but I got all of those gallery items and unlocked that achievement as well. And that one was worth 25 points. So that was worth a decent amount. So
Gotta sit through those credits, man.
Yeah. So if you're going for the Mega Man X collection, make sure to sit through the credits for each game in order to get full credit for beating them.
Hey, they made some amazing games. The only thing they asked is that you memorize all their names.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
That's actually a joke from the original Simpsons movie.
Oh, okay. Because if you put all of the Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3, not Robot Masters, because Robot Masters what they were called in the classic Mega Mans. In Mega Man X, they're called Mavericks. If you put in front of me, because there's 8 in each one, so 8 times 3 is 24 for Mega Man X 1, 2, and 3. I could probably tell you the names of all of them. But if you put the bosses from Mega Man X 4, 5, and 6, I'd probably only be able to tell you the name of like half of them. Although X5, that makes more sense because in their original release, they had different names, and then they re-released it, and they changed all the names because originally in X5, all the bosses were named after people from Guns N' Roses for some reason. And then people hated it. I love the Guns N' Roses names for the characters, but people hated it. So when they re-released the game, they
I mean,
have
they already
new,
have an Axel.
yeah, like it was Axel Rose, I think was the original name, and they changed it to like Axel the Red, or I might have that flipped around. But anyways, they changed all the names of the bosses in Mega Man X5 upon further releases. So X4, 5, and 6, I could tell you some of their names, but not all of them. So their names get kind of ridiculous, and yeah, it's kind of a lot to remember. But so. But yeah, that is all I have to say about Mega Man. So I will look and see if I got this achievement on X6 for beating it without taking damage. But in the meantime, you can go ahead and continue on with whatever your
Now
next game is.
this one will be 2 games, but one of them is digital only, and it is some people's game of the year this year.
Ooh, we played a new game.
Yep. Which one do you think it is?
Game of the year from this year. Not Suicide Squad. Veilguard just came out, so I don't know if you've played that yet. No, seriously.
It's a serious game of the year contender.
Yes, serious.
Not the joke.
Yeah, an actual game of the year contender, and we're talking. So we're not. I'm assuming we're not talking retro achievements right now, right?
No, we're not.
Okay. And was this something you played on Xbox?
Nope.
No. A PlayStation game?
PlayStation.
Oh, I don't think we've talked about any PlayStation games on Achievement Hunters before, or Achievement Chasers.
We might have. It was like once or twice.
Yeah. A contender for Game of the Year on PlayStation. I know Stellar Blade was popular, but I don't know if that'd be Game of the Year contender.
No.
Not Dragon Age. What was the other? Dragon's Dogma. I think that was on PlayStation. That was pretty popular, but I don't think it'd be that one either. I know as soon as you're gonna say it, I'll be like, oh yeah, I should have thought of that. I'm just blanking on actual Game of the Year contenders because I've been so checked out on modern gaming.
You done guessing?
If you gave me a slight hint, I could probably tell you what it was.
Starts with an A.
An A. On PlayStation. I know it. I'm gonna know it as soon as you say it. I really haven't.
I'm not even gonna say it. I'm just gonna put it up at the screen.
I'm just so checked out on modern gaming. I haven't really been paying attention to a lot of like the big AAA, like actual Game of the Year.
Are you done?
Yeah, go ahead. Oh, Astrobot. Yeah, I should have thought of that. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about that game.
And I played Playroom first, which was the demo that's built onto the PS5, or actually given to you with the PS5.
Oh, does that have trophies?
Yes, it does. It even has its own platinum.
Cool.
And it's pretty much more of the same. It's I'd actually say this is my game of the year as well for 2024.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I've heard nothing but fantastic things about that
But
game.
sadly, I still haven't technically finished it because they're doing a thing where they're releasing a couple of speedrun levels, but they're releasing them once per week. But they've already put the trophies into the game.
Oh, they put the trophies in before releasing the content. Oh, that's so annoying.
But it's like next week I'll be able to finish up the game. So okay. I would have done the speedrun level that got released today if it wasn't for me actually going into work, because I would have done it like in my lunch hour.
Okay.
But
you'll get it though for sure.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'll get it after the stream.
Oh, you're gonna try to do it tonight?
Yeah.
Nice.
But it's a great game. It's really fun. It's just fun platforming, finding all the bots, and it's funny whenever a Sony executive was saying we don't have any IPs to use, and they right after they release a game that's celebrating all the IPs they've had.
It reminds me of Kathleen Kennedy. We have no 800-page novels to pull from. It's like, you got freaking libraries full of them. Are you retarded?
This was even worse because they just released a game.
That is worse.
That was celebrating all of it. And literally there's a game called Bloodborne that everyone's trying to make work on PC. Work on PC through an emulator. The entire reason why the PS4 emulator is making so much progress is just so people can play Bloodborne on PC.
Yeah, I bet. I've I've not played Dark Souls. Is my only proper Souls game that I've played, but I've heard like everyone's like, give us Bloodborne. and they're like refusing to. They're pulling
All they
a
have to do is give
Nintendo.
us a PS5 version that actually, or just give us an update to the original version that gives us 60 frames per second on
Yeah,
modern hardware.
they're pulling a Nintendo. They're like, nah. Okay. So yeah, I don't know if Carl's still in chat, but he did a great stream with Extra Zero a couple weeks ago where they just spent a couple hours just talking about the game in depth. And
Yeah.
I don't have a PlayStation, so I've never played it, but I had fun listening to that stream. So I know about the game, and I like the look of it. If I had a PlayStation, I would absolutely play it.
Well, if you do get a PS5, the game before it actually comes on the PS5, so you could still play it without having the new game. So, and it's
Yeah,
just more of the same.
unlikely.
Although, the one that's built into the PS5 called Playroom, it actually uses some of the features of the controller a bit more. Like,
what's the controller called? The DualSense?
Yeah, the DualSense. Like, there's two levels where you actually get into a ball, and you only use the touchpad to actually move the character around.
Oh, not the joysticks.
Yep. Because you know how the top of the controller is like actually like a touchpad. So
I thought so. I've never held one, so I don't know.
What's funny is that on
but...
Linux, I can actually use that touchpad as a mouse pad.
Oh, cool.
Without any special features, but on Windows, I never got that working.
Interesting.
But that did give me some trouble whenever I was playing 7 Days to Die with a PS5 controller. Because I kept on thinking, whenever I went to my inventory, it started thinking I had a mouse and keyboard, and I wouldn't take the normal. It wouldn't take all of the buttons on the controller when I was trying to move inventory.
Okay.
So that kind of sucked. So I had to use the Xbox controller for that. And being able to use the touchpad like that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, for real.
But but back to Astrobot, it's just a lot of fun, and this will go into what I'm going to be playing next month, because I do have the very first game, and I never played it because it is VR only.
Oh.
And as I told you before the stream started,
you did.
I got a VR.
So now you can do it.
Yep. So now I can get all three platinums of Astro.
Cool. So, what was I just going to ask you? Astro. Oh, on the new one, you have one or two left. You have one left.
Trophies technically 3, because there's a trophy for getting all the bots from all the speedrun levels, but there's an achievement for getting at least one per level. So there's 2 more levels that needed to be released, so that still left 3 trophies to get.
Okay, so you just waited till all of them were out, and you're gonna.
No, I've been working on them so slowly whenever they come out, after I realized it happened that way. But what's funny is right the day after I finished the platinum is whenever they released another level. So
I'm not
waiting. I haven't been waiting too long.
I think I've mentioned it on Achievement Chasers before, but I had a very similar thing back in the day. I rented through GameFly BioShock, and I beat it, got 100% of the achievements, and then sent it back to GameFly, and literally a week later, they added one more achievement for beating the game without using Invited Chamber, which means beat the game without dying on the hardest difficulty. And so that game sat uncompleted on my tag for like 13 years. I think it's my longest game from start to completion, because I just went back and finally got that achievement like 2 years ago. So I played it back in 2007 when it came out, like a month.
Yeah, so it's not going to be nearly as long for me with the completion, but this is where they added the Helldiver and Stellar Blade bots.
Oh, cool.
So, and pretty much the whole point of the speedrun is to get through the level as fast as possible. You have to race. You're pretty much racing two birds through the level, and of course one bird is faster than the other. And that's how the timer works. Okay. If you get there before both birds get there, you rescue both bots, because if the bird gets there, it launches the bot on a rocket. they're tied to the rocket like Wile E. Coyote.
Okay. Yeah, speaking of Helldivers, I've been hearing rumors that their Microsoft and Sony might be talking, and there might be a release of Helldivers on Xbox, which would be
I mean,
awesome.
I just saw an advertisement for Death Stranding on Xbox today.
Death Stranding shadow dropped onto Xbox today. It had been on Game Pass via the Windows version already, but they shadow dropped it on the on the Series X. You can't play it on an Xbox One.
Yeah, another walking simulator.
But they shadow dropped it on Xbox today. I was like, I have no interest in that game, but that's cool to see Xbox finally getting some PlayStation stuff. So
Yep.
I would love to see
And we should
Helldivers
be
come to
seeing more Final
Xbox.
Fantasy stuff because Square was like, okay, we need to stop just releasing on one platform.
If they released the Final Fantasy VII remake on Xbox, I would consider playing it because I like that they went from turn-based to like a more action, like real-time
I mean,
combat.
most of my complaints with the game are all the changes that they've made to the story.
And I wouldn't have any idea since I've never played it. So I would
But
probably
at least with
play
Crisis, at least with Crisis Core, it's still the original game. And I think you'd like Crisis Core because that's more action oriented.
Okay, that was a 360 game, right?
Crisis Core was actually a PSP game.
Well, okay, yeah. It was ported to the 360 though, right?
No, it was ported to the Xbox One.
Oh, I thought that was okay. I'll pull that up and take a look at it. I thought it was a 360 game.
It is physically released as well. So
let's see here, Crisis
Core Final Fantasy VII.
There we go. Yeah,
it's a
the first thing that popped up.
It's a prequel to Final Fantasy VII.
Oh, okay. Yeah, action RPG role playing. So it does not have the turn-based tag. So I might give that a look.
Maybe we'll finally get Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox.
So
it's kind of funny when you think about it now, because of the fact of the backwards compatibility. There's now more Final Fantasy on Xbox than there is on PlayStation.
That is funny
because you have the 13 trilogy on Xbox playable.
Yeah. So I don't really pay that much attention to Final Fantasy, but that is funny that
because also Final Fantasy 14 is now on Xbox.
Okay.
So
that's pretty great. But yeah, if I've got Helldivers 2 on Steam, so someone was nice enough to gift it to me, and I still have a bunch of work to do on that one. I've got about
let's
half
just say all the controversy kind of soured me on me ever attempting to play the game.
It's a fun game. I do like the game, and I'm really I haven't really talked to them much lately, but my friends over the Salty Nerd podcast, shout out to Alex and Vader, or Dutch Butters now. He changed his name because Star Wars is so soured. But they do a Helldiver stream every week, and their Discord is blown up with. They're probably like, if you need a community of people to play Helldivers with, go check out the Salty Nerd Discord because they got a ton of people. They do a Helldivers episode every week they call Salt Divers. They're still totally into the game. I need to get back to it because I've only got about half the achievements, and I do want to get the completion in that one. But if it came to Xbox, I would absolutely buy it and do it again on Xbox. But it's a co-op shooter, which is like my favorite. I mean, that's one of the things I love about Mass Effect 3, which, speaking of, I'm going to be playing after we're done here.
How many games you got to talk about?
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 to talk about in somewhat depth, and one to briefly talk about for like 1 minute.
Gotcha, just that, because I only have like one more game to talk about, and that's the one I'm doing on stream.
Okay. Then how about I knock out 3? Oh, actually, you know what? We'll finish with that one because that's one of the ones I have to talk about as well. So I'll talk about 3, and then we can kind of talk about that one together.
Gotcha.
So one of them was, I was not planning on starting this anytime soon, but it came up. I finally did a roulette stream where I caught up on all my tips that I'd gotten since my birthday stream back in July. And this came up, and so I started it on Retro Achievements, and it's one that I've been planning to play. I just wasn't planning on starting it yet, and I don't know when I'm going to get back to playing it, but the classic, my favorite platformer, that is not an action platformer because my favorite Super Nintendo games are the Mega Man X games, but a proper platformer that is not an action platformer on the Super Nintendo. My favorites, the Donkey Kong Country games. I started Donkey Kong Country 1 because it showed up on my roulette stream. So I got 5 of the achievements. I think I beat like the first few levels. I beat the first world. So I got the 5 achievements so far because very naughty like Gnawty is the boss of the first world, right? He's like
Yeah.
the beaver guy.
Yep.
So I got the achievement for beating him without taking damage, which
It's not too
shout out
difficult.
shout out to Dude. He wrote 13 of the achievements that are in Donkey Kong Country 1.
Yep.
So there are now 71 achievements in Donkey Kong Country, but there weren't back in the day. Did you write the original set or?
There was already achievements made by someone else by the time I had started making achievements, but I had fleshed it out for the original way that we were doing achievements.
Okay. I'll
then,
talk to you about that afterwards. I want to know which ones that you wrote, but
yeah.
yeah. So Dude wrote some of the achievements on Donkey Kong Country, and so I started it. I got a few achievements. It was not planned; it just came up on the roulette wheel, so I ended up playing Donkey Kong Country for a little bit. So, was there something else you were going to say about Donkey Kong Country?
Nope, I've already done the entire trilogy.
Yeah, you mastered it already,
and I did that on stream.
Yeah, you did. That's right. Oh, hey, and Paul's here saying howdy. What's up, Paul? Good evening, buddy. Good to see you as always.
You're late again.
He's been doing his Elden Ring, which
oh yeah,
I'm pretty sure he was streaming Elden Ring tonight, so he probably just finished his Elden Ring stream. So the next one is the one that we'll get to at the end because we've both been playing it. So I'll skip to my next one, the Clone Wars, which you've already mastered. I am this close to beating the game because there's 16 missions. I'm on mission 15, and I don't understand how it's possible to beat this mission on Jedi Master. So this is, at least I'm pretty sure it's 15. I'm on the one where at the very end you have, because at like mission 7, you had to fight a Proto Deca. And it was crazy difficult, Proto Deca, and it was really freaking difficult. It took me probably like 20 or 30 tries to beat it.
Now, remember that I didn't know that you could actually restart from a checkpoint. So I had to restart the level over and over again on that level.
So I knew that, fortunately. So I just had to keep retrying the boss fight over and over again. But it took me like 20 or 30 tries to beat it on the level 7 or 8 whenever it first showed up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's plenty of cover in that level. And there is... there's one of them, and there's tons of missile ammo spawns. So you kind of just have to survive long enough to just keep laying on the missiles and go pick up all the missile spawns. And this one, if you survive long enough,
gunship actually drops health and missiles.
On mission 15, though, there's 2 of them at the end of the level, and there's no cover at all. You have to fight them both at the same time. There's no cover at all.
I did send you a message saying, "Did you keep your allies alive?"
So I'm gonna get to that in a moment. So there's 2 at the same time, and there's not missiles littered all over. There's only one, and dropship keeps coming and dropping more, but it's only like every 30 or 45 seconds. I don't know what the time is, but it feels like forever because these things have missiles that track you to the end of the earth. It's nearly impossible to dodge these missiles, and there's 2 of them. And
you have to use the boost to get away from them.
There's like a wall of missiles coming at you like the entire time. You have to like side boost constantly around them, but your boost runs out, and you got to wait for it to recharge, and it doesn't recharge fast enough. So I don't know how it's possible.
You should probably look up a video on it.
So the weird thing is, the first time I tried this level, I made it to the boss fight on my first attempt. I made it through the entire level, got to the boss fight, and on my first try. And then I spent like 2 hours banging my head against the wall trying to beat these things. I could not. I don't know how it's physically possible to beat them. So I went and looked up a video of someone beating it, and they had their allies with them. And I was like, oh, your allies seem to get completely ignored by the enemies, and your allies do a crap load of damage. So like, I need to keep my allies alive. So I restarted the level, and then I spent like another hour just trying to get back to the boss. And for some reason, I've now tried the first time I did it. I made it through the whole level to the boss fight without any trouble. Now I'm trying to just get back to the boss fight, and I can't do it. I've died because there's no checkpoints in. There's. I don't think there's any No, there's one checkpoint. There's one small fight at the beginning of the level that's pretty easy. Unless I'm getting my levels mixed up. And then you switch from a walker to a hover tank. and then that is most of the level. And that walker part right at the beginning is pretty easy. But that second part where you're in the hover tank, you're having to escort a bunch of these tanks, vehicle things to the end of this long area, and there's tons of enemies. And
because you're trying to destroy the factories that are pumping them out.
Yeah, you're trying to destroy the factories. The enemies keep coming because they're factories that are, creating these enemies. You have to escort these guys to blow up those factories. And I've now tried that part like 20 times, and I can't freaking beat it this time. And I was like, what the heck? I beat it first time, and now I can't beat it at all. And the one time I got really close to beating it, my allies were dead. I have no idea how you're supposed to keep your allies alive and make it to the boss.
You gotta keep on telling them to do stuff.
It's annoying how useless they are, because if you don't, they will just sit there and follow you and not do anything. They won't even shoot at enemies you're shooting at unless you hit up on the D-pad when you're targeting an enemy. And then they'll start shooting at them. But as soon as that enemy is destroyed, they don't start shooting other enemies. They just go back to being idle and not doing anything.
Here's the smart thing to do with that. Have them attack an enemy, and then you move to another enemy.
Yeah, and most of the enemies don't have a ton of health, so you're having to constantly tell them what to do, because they'll start shooting at something, and then they'll kill it pretty quickly, and then they'll just be sitting there.
There is a way for them to do it on their own, and that's one of the ones, but they can end up getting killed pretty easily if you leave them on that for too long.
So
because they'll just be doing their own thing.
Yeah, so I'm stuck on this level now, and I don't know how to get to the end of the level and keep my allies alive. And if I do make it to the end of the level without my allies, it's basically impossible. So I don't know how this is physically possible to do on the Jedi Master difficulty, because there's you don't have to beat it on Jedi Master in order to get the achievement for beating the game, because you just need to do it on Jedi Knight, which is the medium difficulty. Jedi Master is the hardest one. There's 3 difficulties: Padawan, Jedi Knight, and Jedi Master, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
So I could bump it down to Jedi Knight and just beat the last 2 levels and get the credit for beating the game. I'm trying to master it on my first playthrough, though, so I can because it's a double point game. So beating it will give me 2 points, but mastering it will give me 4. I'm trying to get the master.
And it's actually not that master. It's not that hard of a master compared to the beating. So once you've beaten the game on Jedi Master, you can bump down the level to get
Jedi Knight
or objective.
Yeah, and one of the other things is each mission has 3 special objectives, and you have to beat all 3 of them, but you don't have to do that on Jedi Master. You can do that on Jedi Knight. So once I beat it on Jedi Master...
Yeah, because some of the levels are just too masochistic to do that on Jedi Master.
Yeah, it's like impossible. So I'll be able to bump the difficulty down and then go get the mission goal side objectives I didn't complete the first time. And then there's like a survival mode, which from what I hear is not terribly difficult.
Oh, I did in the first try.
Yeah, first try. So it shouldn't be too bad to get the mastery, but I literally don't know how it's possible to beat this level. I would love to watch you. Did you do this one on stream?
No, I did not. I did on my own.
I want to go back and watch your. I would watch your stream of it, because I don't know how it's possible. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to get the mastery on it because of this stupid level. So I've been banging my head against the wall on this stupid level for like 3.5 hours in total, and I freaking hate this stupid level. It's not the first level I've had this issue with. But yeah, I'm not having a fun time with the Clone Wars game. And then the one that I've been piecemealing, I've been going is Smash Bros. Melee. So Dude already mastered it, I think.
No, right? I don't have it mastered because I still have those last couple achievements.
Okay, so you still have those 4 achievements left that you haven't gone back and done.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm just going for the story completion. And I don't know if I'll ever master it, but there's a crap load of achievements that I do plan to get in this one, because it's got like 336 achievements. I currently have 56 of them, and I only need like 2 or 3 more achievements in order to get the story completion. But I plan to get a bunch more later on. It's just I'm trying to the GameCube launch event ends next Friday, so I've only got about a week left. I'm at 9 points. I want to try to get to 20 points. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. I am going to hit 10 points for the bronze, but I would like to get 20 points for the silver. I just don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. But Melee is a triple pointer, so that will just beating the story, which and what beating the story in Melee means is beat classic mode and adventure mode with the starting 8 characters, or maybe it's 12. I don't remember. But all the characters that you have unlocked when you first boot up the game, you just got to beat classic mode and adventure mode with each of them. I've beaten classic mode with all of them, and I've beaten adventure with, I think, all but like 3 or 4. So I only have like 3 or 4 more adventure modes to get the story completion. That'll give me 3 points right there. So I've been piecemealing that. Oh my God, I played the last one I played, and I was like, all right, I need a break from this because I was freaking raging. I'm only playing on normal difficulty. That's the thing, is you have to beat each one on normal or higher. And the last one I did was adventure mode, because I did all the classic modes. I did like my favorite characters in classic mode and then adventure, and then I just went through all the rest of the characters that aren't my favorites on classic, and now I'm going through all of adventure mode with all the ones that are not my favorites. And the last one I did was Princess Zelda, and fortunately you can use continues,
yes, you can,
to get these achievements. But I had to use 2 continues with Zelda in order to beat adventure mode. I lost 11 lives with her. I was freaking.
Well, were you not using
fuming.
Sheik?
No, I was using Sheik almost the whole time. And oh my God, I was so freaking pissed. So I was like, all right, I need a break from this. So I went and played something else. But I've been keeping it on my little not my spreadsheet, but my notebook here. I've got 6 left. So I still, for adventure mode, I have to beat it with Bowser, Peach, Yoshi, Fox, Ness, and Ice Climbers. And then I'll have the story completion. So that one will get me 3 points right there. So that if I was to do, if I wanted to, I could do that tonight if I wasn't going to play Mass Effect after this. And that would get me from 9 to 12. Yeah. But I'll definitely get that story completion, and then I'm going to work on the rest of the achievements after the event is over. And then the second to last game I have to talk about is the one that I'm currently spending most of my time playing. And that is it is tied with my all-time favorite Star Wars game of all time, if you were there for Star Wars games top 5, because they're basically the same game, just one is, they expanded upon the combat, and that is Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy. Although Jedi Academy was not on GameCube, but Jedi Outcast was. And the GameCube version, my goodness, it is... I've only ever played the PC version before, and the PC version is infinitely better. So it sucks being restricted to so few buttons when there's so many buttons that I'm used to having on the PC version of this game. I would play a Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, but Jedi Academy was never released on GameCube. It was only released on Xbox and PS2 on the consoles. But Jedi Outcast is a double pointer as well. So once I beat I will never get the completion in this one either, because the mastery there's some ridiculous achievements. But I'm gonna get the story completion. It's a double pointer, so once I beat the story, it'll be worth 2 points. And I think I can do that before next Friday as well. But I was playing it today a little bit, and I'm on the first level after you get your lightsaber, which is like level 8 or so. Because once you get your lightsaber, the game completely changes. But yeah, it's been really annoying. Just my biggest issue, though, is the GameCube version of the game is super dark, so it's super hard to see anything. There is no brightness setting in the game at all, anywhere. Oof. Or in the emulator. There's no way I can brighten the game, and it's driving me nuts, because on the PC version, I just go slide my brightness slider up, but they got rid of that. The textures look like crap. They had to compress a ton of stuff to fit it on that tiny GameCube disc. My goodness, it looks like garbage compared to what the PC version looks like. But I still love the game. The gameplay is the same. It sucks I have to play it on a controller and not a mouse and keyboard, because this game is infinitely better on mouse and keyboard. It's funny,
there's technically a keyboard controller for the GameCube.
Interesting.
It was made for Phantasy Star Online, so you could actually type in the chat.
Oh, is that the big one with the keyboard in the middle?
Yes.
I didn't know that was real. I thought that was like if someone made a meme of it, or
no,
it was
it's
like
real.
A prototype. I didn't.
What's funny is someone
real.
actually brought it to a Smash Brothers Melee tournament once, and he actually played with that controller. I think he did it just for the meme, but it was still funny.
That is hilarious. But yeah, so Jedi Outcast has 213 achievements. I'm currently at 25. Yeah, it's so infinitely inferior to the PC version, but I love the game, so I'm playing through it. I'm just living with it. The inferior version on the GameCube. I did not know how bad the GameCube version was until playing it now. Um, but I'm gonna play through it, and just like Melee, I'm gonna go back and get a bunch of the other achievements after the event is over. But right now, I'm kind of just speed running through the game to get the story completion. But yeah, Jedi Outcast and Jedi Academy are my favorite Star Wars games, and the only ones still to this day that have gotten lightsaber combat correct, and that's why I love them so much. But if you're gonna play them, I say play them on PC. You can play them on Xbox, so they are on Xbox, and I've got them on Xbox as well. I've never played the Xbox version, but it has to be better than the GameCube version. But if you're gonna play it at this point, I'd definitely say play it on PC.
Gotcha.
So with that, that will lead us into our last game that we both have to talk about. But I'll go ahead and let you start off.
So I've been playing this one on stream, so I haven't gotten as far as Neo, but I've been playing Metroid Prime Echoes on stream.
Yes,
Because I said as soon as this one dropped, the next when I finished the current game I'm on stream, this is the game I'm playing next. And sadly, that meant that Wind Waker got pushed back again.
Yeah, because
I will be playing this one after I'm done with Prime 2.
Okay. So yeah, I've been waiting on pins and needles because the achievements for Prime 2 didn't release until let me pull it up here. Because
I am worried about the 3-hour achievement, but everything else seems to be fine with the achievement set.
So yeah, because Prime 1 was the first first GameCube game I played on Retro Achievements, and it was my first Retro Achievement mastery, because it's arguably my favorite not my favorite Metroid game, but Metroid Prime 1 and 2 are tied for my favorite Metroid game, but they are also tied for my favorite GameCube games. But after I mastered Prime 1, I was like, I even put it on the Prime 2 comments page. Like, I'm waiting on pins and needles for the achievements to go live for Prime 2, because the Prime 2 achievements have been in the works for a while. And I was like, the day the achievements drop, I'm starting the game. And so the day the achievements came out, I started playing Prime 2. That was October 30th. So it just by a hair's breadth, we're able to talk about it because I started it in October. I don't know if you started it in October, but I did.
I think I started in November. Oh, no, I did start on Halloween night.
Okay, so I started on the 30th, so you started it the next day. Yeah, I have beaten the story, so I got the point for beating the story, but I have not. I have to go back and get the mastery of it eventually. But there is, just like the other Metroid games I was talking about earlier, there's a bunch of achievements for beating on hard mode, which I've unlocked, but I haven't played through it yet. I'll go back and do that
I always go for the Prime games. Besides 3, I've always played through the game on the normal difficulty and then got right back up and played on hard.
Well, you have to, because you unlock the hard difficulty by beating the normal difficulty.
But I've always done that, so.
I got like I've got 90, or so I got the achievement for, there's like 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100% of the scans. I got the 80% scan achievement, and I've got the 75% item achievement, but I haven't got the 100% on either of those. But I do plan to go back and get those at some point as well.
Hopefully you didn't miss anything that was missable.
I don't think I did, because I was very vigilant about that. I might have, but I don't think I did. But yeah, I beat the story, and that's when I moved on to Jedi Outcast, because, like I said, I'm trying to speedrun getting some more points before the end of the event. But I am absolutely going to go back and make an attempt at mastering it. But how's it been going on your stream so far? What point are you at?
I just recently beat Powerbomb Guardian, and I had done some more some cleanup after the Powerbomb Guardian. And I think I'm about to fight the second Dark Samus.
Okay.
Because I've actually, after I got into the Torvus Bog, I just decided to say I'm gonna go and go for some of those speed runs now, so I don't have to worry about them later.
So almost every boss in the game has a speedrun achievement for beating the boss under a certain time limit. I got almost all of them. I didn't get the very first one, which is for beating the Bomb Guardian in under 35 seconds. I don't know how to even do it that fast. It's a real pain in the butt because you only can damage him for what
Someone's done it in 17 seconds.
That's nuts because he's invincible until you shoot him in the mouth enough times, and then he's vulnerable for only a couple seconds. But you're usually behind him, so you have to go run past him and then turn around and then shoot. But by that time, he goes back to his
at that point.
phase.
You should be using the shuffle around him.
Well, even still, it's still difficult, and that's because of the controls of the game. If I just had a first person shooter,
that's because you're not used to the controls of the game.
I am though, because I played these games a bunch back in the day, and I played Metroid Prime 1 like 6 times in July. But if I just had,
why'd you have to do it 6 times?
I don't know if it was 6 times, but I played it a bunch of times. I think it was 4, but anyways. If I just had a proper first-person control schemes where I could walk backwards and turn at the same time, it would be a lot easier. But because of the GameCube control scheme, it's really difficult because of getting in position to even shoot him and do damage when he's in his vulnerable state before he goes back to his invincible state. So that one's a pain in the butt. But almost all of the rest of them, I was able to do. Some of them I was able to do first try, but most of them took a couple of tries. There have been a few that took a bunch of tries, but
I know there's one that you skipped.
Yeah,
that I ended up getting.
Yeah, so I skipped the first one. I got most of the boss speedrun achievements except for the Spider Guardian, and that time they did bump up the time limit a little bit. It was originally 3 minutes and 30 seconds. They did bump it up to 3 minutes and 45 seconds, but I'd made a good attempt and it was pretty good. And it was still 5.5 minutes. I'm like, how am I going to shave 2 minutes off of this? But there is a trick to it that I found out after that boss fight because that boss fight, when you go into the boss fight, you don't even get control of Samus for like the first 17 seconds. And then it's like a 4 or 5 phase boss fight. And each phase, there's like another cutscene that's like 10 to 15 seconds. So it's like, how are you supposed to beat it under this time limit when you're not even in control of your character for so much of the fight? The trick is that you have to basically get to the last phase of the boss fight and then die and then go into it again. Because once you've already sat through those cutscenes, you can then skip them so you can get that time back added where you can actually control your character and cut down on your time. So I skipped the the Spider Ball Guardian, and I was like, I'll come back to that and do it on another playthrough. But I didn't figure out this dying trick at the end of the fight to skip the cutscenes until the final boss of the game, or not the final boss of the game, but the final normal boss, which is a Quadraxis fight. And once I figured out that trick, I got the achievement for beating him under his time limit first try, and I was like the second fastest on getting that one.
By the way, for the Spider Guardian, I'm the 5th fastest.
Nice.
And I actually would have gotten the achievement with the original time because it was like under 3 minutes.
The 3:30.
It's at 3. I was at 3 minutes and
point. So I just pulled up the Quadraxis speedrun leaderboard. I was number 2. Now I'm number 9, but it was the. I hate that I can't see this. When you're looking at the leaderboard, you don't see the achievement that's tied to it. So I did it in 3:34. I want to say the time limit was 4 minutes.
Yeah.
And I did 3:34.
Number 1 is 3:06. 3:06.
3:06. Yeah. So I was number 2 for a little bit, but I've been bumped down to number 9. But that's still pretty good. But there's also an achievement for the beating the boss of the game, the Emperor Ing, and under the time limit. That one I did not do, but there's no save point after that. So once you beat the game, you can just go back and just keep attempting that one again. My time was terrible because the achievement I think is 4 minutes again, just like the Quadraxis one. And I think my time was like 8.5 minutes. It was super long. So I'll go back and get that one as well, but you don't have to worry about missing that one because it's right at the end of the game. There's no save points after it. And then there's also an achievement after you beat it for escaping to the final cutscene with like 4 minutes left, and you start with 6, so you only have 2 minutes but you have to fight Dark Samus again, which I completely forgot that fight even existed in the game. So you have to fight her. I was like, oh, I'll have plenty of time. And then she shows up again. I'm like, I completely forgot about this fight. And so you got to beat her really fast in order to get that achievement. But just like the Emperor Ring, it's easy to retry that one because there's no save points after it, so you're not going to miss it. Whereas a bunch of the other ones are all missable because if you beat the boss and don't get the achievement and save, you can't go back and do it again. You have to start a new playthrough and get through the game to that boss in order to try again. So, which I'll have to do on the Spider Guardian because I skipped it. I'm like, I'll do it later. But yeah, so I did like 5.5 minutes, but that was with all the cutscenes. So next time I try it, I'll get to the end, die, and then do it again. And hopefully I should be able to do it under the time limit in a much easier fashion because I'll be able to skip all those cutscenes. The really, really, really annoying thing about the Spider Guardian, though, is the closest save point is really annoying because it's pretty far away and you have to go do a bunch of stuff. So each attempt, you have to do all this stuff over again before you can attempt the that boss fight again. So that one is really annoying because of how much stuff there is to do between each attempt. You can't just load up your save and go into the boss fight and try again. You have to do all this other stuff prior because you go into this area where you can't get out of and there's no save rooms and you have to go do this other stuff in order to get to the boss room in order to fight the Spider Guardian. So that one is probably the worst one because it's so the time limit was so restricted. They've, like I said, they bumped it up 15 extra seconds and there's so much stuff you have to do prior to the fight is really annoying. So, but yeah, like I said, I've beaten it. I have a bunch of stuff to go back to later on down the road. I do plan to get the mastery. But dude, you are doing it on your streams.
Yep.
You've done some of the boss speed run achievements. Maybe not.
Yeah, I kind of started doing. I
actually
started going for them towards once I got into the Taurus bog after the Boost Guardian. Because what's sad is the Boost Guardian, I was like only a second or two off of the achievement, and if I had been able to skip the cutscenes, I probably would have gotten it.
Yeah, that one I was able to get that one. And I think that was the one where I told you about after stream last week or so. Or no, I think it was the second Samus fight was the one. But yeah, the Boost Guardian didn't take that many attempts for me.
Oh wait, never mind. That was way over. I was like a 153, but I know I wasn't doing the fastest. But I know I probably be able to get it on the second try.
But yeah, you've been attempting most of them now, and so
yes,
you're making it. You'll get through most of it. Are you planning on mastering it before you move on to another game, or are you just going to?
I'm planning on mastering it before I move on to Wind Waker.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. So, there was one I told you about this off after stream last week that I missed it by like 1.0 seconds. I think it was the second Samus fight, the one that you were about to do on the elevator. I want to say the time limit was like 1:30. If you have it, definitely let me know what the time limit was.
Gotcha.
But I did it with like 1 second over. It was like 1:31.06, I want to say. And I was fortunate. It still gave me the achievement. So I was like, sweet, that works for me. So I don't know what the deal is on why I got the achievement when I was over by a second. But I was very happy that I got it. And I was like, all right, I'm moving on. So if you're close enough, I don't know if it was just that fight, but it seems if you're close enough, you can still get the achievement, even if you're slightly over the time limit. So I'm gonna try to find that one. If there's anything else you want to say about Prime 2.
No, nothing much because I'm still continuing on through it.
Let's see here. Is this the one? I think it was. So the defeat Dark Samus and Agon Waste and main reactor. No, that's the first fight. That one took me a bunch of attempts because she spends so much time invincible in that fight. That one was real pain, but I think I pulled that one off with like 3 seconds left. Let me see. That one is 1:30. Let's see what my time was Oh, yeah, that's where it's annoying, where they're not, the achievement and the speedrun are separated. So Dark Samus Reactor, a minute 30. A minute 23. So I still have like 7 seconds. Oh, that's one where I missed it by like 3 seconds the first time. And then I had to attempt it a few more times. Then I got it down to a minute 23. Someone on here is Tragdor the Burninator. I love it. Dark Samus 2 on Sanctuary Fortress, I think that's one, is also a minute 30. And let's see the leaderboard. Did you get the alpha blog on your first attempt?
No.
Okay.
It took me a few tries.
Take a few tries. I thought, looking at the achievements, I was like, did you get that on your first attempt? Because that one took me not too many tries, but it took me a few attempts. That one. So I was like, if you got that on your first try, dude.
What's funny is I kept on doing the last full puzzle to get to the alpha blog. And then I got tired of it, so I ended up doing it so that right before the last thing I had to do was scan the thing to open the door. I didn't scan it and then went up to save. That way I could just run back to the scan point and then open the door. The moment I did that, that's when I actually ended up getting the achievement.
Nice.
So I tried actually making it a bit easier for me to get back to the fight, and then that was the time I actually ended up getting it.
That's I have something very similar to that. I'll talk about it in just a second on Jedi Outcast. But I was right. So the Dark Samus fight that you're about to do is the one in Sanctuary Fortress on the elevator. Is also a minute 30 is the achievement, and I got it in a minute 31.06 seconds. So I was 1.06 seconds over the time limit, but it still gave me the achievement. So I was like, I'll take it. And it's funny because I have the lowest the lowest time who has the achievement, and I'm in 17th, and then the next person who is in 18th place is like 2 minutes later at like 3.5 minutes. So that was funny. I was like, all right, I will take it. Oh, that's right. I was talking to you because I was like, I didn't want to tell the developer that the achievement, I should not have gotten the achievement, but I don't want them to take it away. But you're like, they won't do that. So I forgot that I have not reached out to the developer to let them know yet. So I'm going to keep this open.
Gotcha.
But something that you just made me think of, because I was doing it like literally like 20 minutes before we started this stream. I was playing some Jedi Outcast, and there's an achievement for each level for finding all of the secret areas. But you have to do it in one session. So if you like close the game and relaunch the game, then you have to do the whole level over again. So it has, you can save anywhere and load anywhere, but if you get to the end of the level, save, close the game, and then resume and load up your save, you'll get the achievement for beating the level at the end. But if you are trying to get the secret achievement for getting all the secret areas, you won't get the achievement. You have to start from the level over again and get all the secret areas. So the level I was playing, there's 6 of them, and I had 5 of them, and I knew where the last one was, but it's a really tricky jump that you have to make in just the right, like pixel perfect, in order to be able to make it into this little spot. And I had given it probably about 10 or 15 attempts. I'm like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to move on because, we have this stream in a few minutes. So I'm going to, and I have a call to make before the stream. So like, I'll give it one more attempt, and then I'm just going to beat the level, and I'll come back and do this level later on for that achievement. So I made one more attempt because you're on a moving platform. So you have one attempt, and if you miss, you have to reload your save again. And so I made the jump, and I didn't make it, and I landed on the moving cart. But then because I was like holding the jump button or something, he jumped backwards off the platform and fell, because it's the bottomless pit. And so I died, and like, all right, fine, I'll do it one more attempt. And that time I made the jump, and I was able to get the last secret area, and it's like right before the end of the level. So I was able to get that secret area, hop back on it, and ride the cart to the end and beat the level, and I got the achievement for the secret area. So I was literally this close to giving up on it for now, and I just happened to get it on that last attempt. So just like your alpha blog story.
Well, I wasn't ready to give up. I was just I just did it in a way that I could skip some of the extra stuff to get to
Okay.
the bot fight.
So I was about to be done with it because I got stuff I got to do. I got a phone call, and then I have to. Then we got this stream. I was like, I'll come back to it later, and then I got it on that last attempt, which I wouldn't have done if I hadn't jumped off jumped off on the previous attempt, because that was going to be my last one. But because I fell to my death, I was like, well, I'm going to try it anyways because I'm going that way anyways, and I happened to land the jump, and so I got the achievement for all the secret areas on that level.
Yay!
So. All right. Well, I think that about. Oh, you know what? I think I told you this off stream last week, but since you're about to do the Dark Samus fight, there is a comment here from someone. What I recommend for speeding up that
Dark
fight
Burst
is the Dark Burst. It says just use the Dark Burst, but the Dark Burst is very slow moving once you fire it. So, the very beginning of the fight, she's stationary for a couple seconds. So hit her with a Dark Burst like as soon as the fight starts. And it does so much damage, it'll immediately knock you into phase 2, where the elevator reaches the top, because it'll keep going. You're moving on an elevator going up.
I played the game before.
Yeah. So just how the game works, it just keeps going up forever until you do enough damage to Dark Samus, and then you finally reach the top of the elevator. So you'll do so much damage with that first Dark Burst that you'll immediately reach the top of the elevator and go into phase 2. And at the beginning of phase 2, if she doesn't go into morph ball mode and bounce all around the arena, she'll stay stationary for a few seconds so you can hit her with another Dark Burst. But once you've hit her with a second Dark Burst, a third Dark Burst would kill her, but it's almost impossible to hit her with a Dark Burst because she's moving around so much. So what I did is I switched to using the Super Missile after hitting her with the second Dark Burst. And trying to keep my distance from her, because she jumps around and breaks your lock. If you stay far enough away from her, she'll break your lock, but then you can just immediately reacquire her and then fire a super missile. And so that's how I beat it. So that's my tip for beating her under the time limit on that second Dark Samus fight. So, but with that will do it for our achievement hunting in October. Anything you want to talk about what you're going to be hunting in November?
Well, I've already told 2 games. Astro's the Astro game for the VR, and then Wind Waker after I'm done with Echoes. So probably after Astro, I'll probably go through Final Fantasy V.
Okay.
Of course, on Xbox, not on Game Boy.
On the Xbox version, right? And you're because you're only doing Prime 2 on stream, right?
Yes.
Okay, and you're gonna do the same thing for Wind Waker?
Yes.
Okay.
And after Wind Waker, it's gonna be Star Fox Adventures.
Okay, that was my Star Fox Adventures. That so I've had I had 2 because on Retro Achievements you can request a set, but you have to earn them by getting certain point values on essentially your gamer score. And I had 2 of them, and so I applied them to Metroid Prime 2, and then that one got achievement, so it got refunded back to me, but just like a week ago or so. And my other one I had put on Rebel Strike, which is Rogue Squadron 3.
I could make 25 requests right now if I wanted to.
Yeah. And Rogue Squadron 3 Rebel Strike, they're working on the achievements, but they're not out yet. But once I earned a third achievement set request, I applied that one to Star Fox Adventures. And then that one just got achievements like yesterday or the day before. So that one got refunded back to me. I forget what I put them on now, but Star Fox Adventures just got an achievement set just a day or 2 ago. So I did Star Fox Assault. I was like, oh, I already mastered that one. But Star Fox Adventures, no, I've not played that one yet. But Star Fox Assault was my second mastery, because I've only got 2 masteries on Retro Achievements: the Metroid Prime.
And that one gave you a bit
Star
more
Fox
rage
Assault.
than the first one.
Star Fox Assault?
Yes. I'm talking about gave you a bit more rage than your first mastery.
Yeah. With the exception of missing the speed run on Metroid Prime 1 by like 5 minutes. That one was painful. But I enjoy playing Metroid Prime more than I
and also the fact that you knowing that I got it just on my own. Without even really trying.
But you played Prime a lot more times than I have.
Yeah, I have.
And I haven't played Prime since probably like 2016. It had been a while. Well, that's not true. I played it earlier this year on the Prime Remastered for the first time in a while. But I wasn't doing a completion or speed run. I was doing an any %. And most of that playthrough was in handheld mode because I was traveling. So it was nice to play on a more full-size monitor. Yeah, so I will be playing Star Fox Adventures at some point, but I don't know when. But for me, I am, like I said, I am trying to get the 20 points for getting the silver badge on the GameCube launch event before next Friday when it ends.
Good luck trying to get that.
I still need 11 more points, but I think I can do it on my. Let me pull up my spreadsheet here. My plan is wrong tab.
You're gonna have to buckle down, boy.
Yeah. So my plan is to get the completion in Jedi Outcast, which will get me 2 points. The story completion, that is. The story completion the mastery in Clone Wars, which get me 4 points. The story completion in Melee, which will get me 3 points. And then I need to get, I think that puts me at 19. So I need 1 more point. So I would find some quick game that I could burn through the story real quick and get the.
You could do the magical Mickey game. That game takes you like 2 hours to get everything done.
If I'm close enough where I need 1 more point, I will probably do that. But if I'm not close
it's a
enough,
point and click game.
If I still need like 3 or 4 more points, I'm like, I'm not going to bother. I'll just stick with the gold. But that is my plan to try to get silver before the event ends next week. So that is what I'm planning to do on retro achievements. As for Xbox, as I mentioned earlier, there is the genre bingo. So I am also working on Xbox. I'll be not focusing on that. That goes until the end of the month. So that'll be more focused in the last 2 weeks of the month after the GameCube event ends. But I'm already like halfway through that one because I've got about, like I said, about half the genres I need already. But I'll be focusing on that after the 15th. And I set a goal that on Xbox, I'm going to try. I'm currently at 87.7% completion. And I'm going to try to get 89% before the end of the year, which is right now, 1 achievement percent is like 250 achievements. So that's probably about 300 achievements before the end of the year without starting any new games. So I'm going to try to do that because I've been playing so little Xbox this year because I've been streaming so much. A lot of my achievement hunting has just been getting an achievement each day just to keep my streak alive. I was like, I'm trying to get my completion up so I can back to where it was so I can get start all those games I've been backlogging. So like I'm going to put a push to get that won't get me to that point, but it'll get me closer because in order to recover my dive fully, I still need 842 more achievements because I need to get to like 91.1%. But 300 will put a good chunk, a good dent into that. And I'm basically, for the most part, I'm going to take pretty much the entire month of December off of streaming. And I'm going to be focusing on getting a lot of gaming done over December. So if I was going to be keeping my streaming schedule up like it has been now in December, there's no way I would hit that. But since I'm basically taking all of December off streaming, I'm going to be getting a lot of gaming in. I think I can hit it. I don't know if I can, but I set a goal for myself to hit 89%.
So what's happening with the top fives and the party chats?
So there's one more party. So since we're at that point, let's see here. I'm on October. Let me switch to November. So there are 3 more top 5s for the year, and there's 1 more party chat. So the next top 5 will be on Tuesday, the 12th, and we are ranking our top 5 favorite video game movies. The following Tuesday will be the last party chat of the year on the 19th. And I don't have it nailed down on who the guest is going to be yet, but I have reached out to them and they said that they're interested, but they're like, I don't know if I'm a big enough gamer to really qualify to be on the panel. So I need to talk to them some more. And then
who says you have to be a big gamer to be talking about games?
That's what I told them. I was
look at all the podcasts right now that don't even have people who play games.
Yeah, exactly.
Talking about them. I
was like, if even if you're not really a big gamer now, if you were a gamer at some point, party chat you'll probably be able to be on party chat. But I need to talk to him some more off, behind the scenes. But that'll be the last episode of Party Chat for the year. Will be on the 19th. Then we'll have 2 back-to-back weeks with top 5, and that's because there was the top 5 video games movies was supposed to be this Tuesday, but we had a scheduling conflict, so we bumped it back a week. And one of our top 5s absolutely has to stay on this date, but I'll get to that in just a moment. And so basically, the top 5s and the Party Chat for this week all got bumped down a week, and we just didn't have anything on Tuesday, which worked out well because I was able to hang out with James on his Mass Effect stream. But we'll have.
You were cursing almost as much as you did on Souls games.
Oh, it wasn't, no way, not even close. Holy crap! You're not gonna believe this. Literally 5 seconds ago, Dark Souls: Art of the Abyss Walking just unlocked. 24 hours after I did it on Dude Souls last night, the achievement randomly unlocked. It just popped up because I've got the Xbox app on my iPad, and whenever I unlock achievements, it pops up on the Xbox app.
Yeah, I think like I said, I think there's some issues with how Dark Souls Remastered handles the achievements on the Xbox One.
Dark Souls Remastered, 15 points. Art of Abyss Walking just unlocked literally just now. That is hilarious. So that's the achievement that I should have gotten last night from beating the wolf that did not unlock when it should have. It just randomly popped up about 24 hours later. But anyways, we'll have Party Chat on the 19th. Then we'll have top 5 party members on the 26th. Like party members from, doesn't have to be party members from a RPG, but I assume that's probably what it's going to be mostly comprised of. And typically I alternate Party Chat and top 5, but the following week, December 3rd, we're also doing a top 5 because this one has to be on this day. And it was just coincidental that it fell on this day because Jason, my co-host of top 5, like, hey, I want to do, I know that I think it's the 30th anniversary of the PS1 is in December. So I want to do a top 5 PS1 games as a top 5 in December. I was like, okay, cool. So we looked it up, and I could have the year wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the 30th anniversary of the PS1. But I looked it up. It launched on December 3rd. December 3rd this year falls on a Tuesday when we were already going to have a top 5. So it's like, it was meant to be. Yeah. So the last top 5 of the year is going to be on Tuesday, December 3rd. We're ranking our top 5 favorite PS1 games. So I don't know. I'll have to talk to you about this because I'm taking December off of streaming. We may continue Dude Souls because I do want to get that knocked out. If you're, and
it still is technically achievement hunting too. So
yeah, and it's still achievement hunting. So I haven't decided whether we're going to keep that up or not. That might be the only thing I keep up through the course of December.
You got to remember there's going to be some weeks that I'm not going to be here. So
that too. So you know what? Executive decision. I think I'll keep whatever weeks you're available. We'll keep doing Dude Souls through December.
Gotcha.
But other than that, all my typical streams, my open mics on Thursday. We'll also still do our achievement chasers on Thursday, December 5th, if that works for you.
I'll have to make sure that's good, but it should be good.
But I won't be doing any open mics. I won't be doing any top 5s or party chats, and I won't be doing any Metroidvania Mondays. I will probably still do a Mass Effect Monday in December, but that's probably about it. So taking most of December off to get a bunch of gaming done because my gaming.
You can always do it like I do and actually do your achievement hunting on stream.
I could. And that's another thing is I haven't decided. That's going to take up a chunk of December is the December 12 Days of Christmas event, which I always do. Last year, I streamed the entirety of my 12 Days of Christmas. I don't know if I'm going to do that this year just because I can get stuff done faster when not on stream than on stream, which is why I don't want to do the achievement hunting on stream. Is just because I can get it done faster, especially if I need to look up guides and stuff. That's not something that I want to do on stream. So
as long as you do it quickly, it's not too bad.
Because
I'll do it in a way I can still see chat. So if someone does something in chat, I can still see them talking to me.
Yeah. Like, I know some people like they have like their overlay up on a different screen so they can have like their game full screen on their monitor. What you're seeing on your end is what I'm playing on. So I'm playing with the OBS screen and all the chat stuff overlaid.
Oh, I'm doing the same thing. That's the reason why I don't have all the extra stuff like some other people do.
Yeah, so like what you're seeing is what I'm looking at as well. So I don't have it's different. Like I do have one of my other monitors is where the game is full screen, but I'm not using that to play the game. I'm using my OBS screen where it's condensed, so it's got the chat and stuff, and it's got
Oh
all my
no, for me, I
sliders and
actually have
stuff.
my OB. I have, since my computer is connected to my main TV as well. I
Your
just
computer just connects to your TV, yeah.
I project the OBS screen onto my big screen.
Yeah.
That's how I play.
Yeah. So
I think that causes some lag, and that's actually what might have caused some issues for me in DMC5. I still got all the S ranks in that.
Nice. So I am still gonna do the 12 Days of Christmas. I don't think I'm gonna stream it though.
I was talking about like your normal achievement hunting.
Yeah, just all the other stuff.
Yeah,
because I may sometimes I'll be able to get some stuff during the day, here and there, and I can't like focus on it. Like I can get it done while I'm doing other work stuff. So
yeah,
it's
I've done that before.
not something that like I'd be like I may have to like put it on hold for an hour or whatever for a meeting or whatnot. So
yeah, if I'm waiting for like a job to run, I might do a quick gameplay sometimes.
Yeah. So that's why I probably won't stream it, and I probably won't stream my 12 Days of Christmas this year either. But we'll keep Dude Souls, and as long as Thursday the 5th works for you, we'll keep Achievement Chasers in December. But other than that, and the top 5 that we're doing at the beginning, the 3rd, I'll basically taking December off of streaming, so I can actually get some good quality gaming in. So
yeah, kind of like what I did this past month.
Were we being serious or are you being sarcastic?
I was kind of being serious.
Okay, I was like, I think so. And another game that's leaving Game Pass in the middle of November, so I'm panic playing it, but it's a pretty quick completion as well.
I mean, this is all I played this month.
That's quite a bit, yeah. So, but is Somerville is a little adventure game that's leaving at the middle of the month, so I'm panic playing that, getting that done. But yeah, other than that, and I mentioned it earlier, and I am making my way through Doom 64, so I'm planning on getting that. That's one of the games that I'm planning on completing here very shortly.
On Xbox One, it's actually really easy because in PS4 it's really easy because you can use cheats.
Yeah, this version I have because what I was planning on doing is because I knew it has the cheats where you can go to the specific levels you need to get these achievements. I was like, I'm going to play through it in its entirety, legit.
You know what you should do?
Been planning on
cheat
doing with
Grounded. Cheat it on Xbox,
well.
but then play the N64 version with retro achievements correctly.
Oh, that's actually a good idea.
Because the retro achievements actually has actual achievements compared to
That's a good idea. I might do that. I hadn't thought about that, but I might do that. But some of these games you can complete really easily and you don't have to do a lot of it. Doom 64 is one of them. It's only got like a 1 to 2 hour completion. And same with like Grounded. It's got like normally it'd be like a 60 to 80 hour completion. I was like, Subnautica had the same thing, although I beat it before the console commands were discovered, and it made it from like a 60-hour completion into a 1 hour completion. And I'm really glad I wasn't tempted by that because it's become one of my favorite games. And if I hadn't actually played it and just used the console commands, I might not have actually played through the game and fallen in love with it. So Grounded is very similar, and it's got the ability to basically unlock all the achievements almost instantly. And I've been intentionally not doing that because I've been planning on playing it legitly, and I had started playing it a couple months ago. I've fallen off, but I put about 30 hours into the game, and it is really slow going. So I think I don't think I'm gonna follow through on that one. I think I'm gonna use the console commands or whatever it is to unlock all the achievements so I can hit that threshold of the achievements I want to get before the end of the year. But I may go back and play it more of it legit after the fact, anyways, because it is fun, but I'm not liking it as much as I like Subnautica. And I put 30 hours into it, so I've gotten, a good taste of the game. So it's not like I have just like got the achievements and bounced out with 5 minutes of play and never actually got a taste for the game. So I've given it a fair shot. So I'm more okay with kind of skipping on that one. And then, so I was going to do the same thing with Doom 64. I was like, I need to give it its proper shot and play through it legit. But it does only have 10 achievements. I already have 6 of them. But I think I'm going to use the easy way to get the remaining 4. But I think that's a good idea. I may end up doing the Doom 64 on retro achievements for the legitimate achievement attempt. But the rest of the stuff that I have planned out for getting to trying to hit my 89% completion for the end of the year, I'm going to be all over the place. I don't even know what games I'm going to be playing yet. So, that covers what I'm planning on playing and my streaming schedule for December for the rest of, I talked about my Tuesday streams for the rest of the month. But for the streaming schedule for the next upcoming week, Monday, I will be back with some more Metroidvania Monday with some more AM2R. I think I'm getting close to the end, but like I said, I don't know because I feel like I only have 2 more items to get, but there's still a ton of the map that I haven't explored. So, and then, like I just mentioned, I'll be back with Top 5 next Tuesday with Top 5 video game movies. We'll be back. Both of us will be back here on Wednesday for some more Dude Souls. And then next Thursday, I have an open mic with Pop Culture Mechanic is going to come on, and we'll be talking about video games. And I realized, I was like, it's been almost a month since I've done an open mic because we're doing Achievement Chasers tonight. Last Thursday was Halloween, so I didn't do one. The Thursday before that, I did my gaming roulette. So my last open mic was on October 17th. So it's been a while since I've done an open mic. I will have some availability next weekend because usually my weekends are pretty packed with real life stuff, but I got some openings. So I will be on Carl's channel on Saturday the 16th for his talking all things Halo, because he's doing a lot of retrospective stuff on stuff that came out in November over the years. Halo came out in November. Mass Effect came out in November. So he was originally going to be on Friday, but he had to bump it to Saturday. So I'll be talking. I don't know if it's just going to be the 2 of us or some other people are going to be on it as well. But we'll be talking things Halo on the RNG channel on Saturday the 16th. And then on Sunday the 17th, Dude and myself and the company boys, Insidious Bliss and Paul Hadouken, will be continuing our Halo. So we're going to be, the last thing we did was ODST a couple months ago. And that's basically all my fault because my weekend schedules changed. I got really busy. And Paul
can't do weeknights.
Yeah. And my weekends, I basically don't have available for streaming anymore. So that's why it's been on hold. But this weekend I'm available. Or not this weekend, but the following weekend. So we'll be making our attempt at getting through Halo Reach on Sunday the 17th. And then on the 18th will be the next Mass Effect Monday, which is open to anyone come play Mass Effect. And I got a interest from a bunch of people, so we might have a full lobby on that one. But anyone is welcome to join for Mass Effect Monday. I do that once a month. But as you guys probably all know, Mass Effect 3 is my favorite game of all time, and I will gladly play the multiplayer on that anytime. I have the Xbox version and the Steam version, so I'm happy to play with anyone on either of those platforms whenever you want. I finally, and if you're in my Discord, I finally got the role things figured out. So if you go to the role assignment channel and click the N7 icon, it'll add you to the hidden Mass Effect channel. And I plan to ping everyone in that channel whenever I go to play Mass Effect 3 multiplayer in case anyone wants to join me. And you can also use that to meet up with people to play Mass Effect whenever you want to as well. So if that sounds interesting, you can join my Discord, and I've got a channel for that now. And I got the whole bot thing figured out so that when you click that emoji, it adds you to that channel and that gives you that role. So I just got that figured out a couple days ago. So, and it is N7 day. So once we're done here in just a couple minutes, I'm going to go eat some dinner, and then I'm going to boot up some Mass Effect 3. And you guys are welcome to join me for Mass Effect 3. I think JT Epsilon said he wanted to play, and I know he's got the Steam version, so we'll probably be playing on Steam. But I know my buddy IRL Razik, he wants to play as well. So he's got the Xbox version. So we may play some Steam and then switch over to Xbox. But you're welcome to join. So with that, anything else that you want to plug, Dude, on your channel before we say bid adieu?
No, just I'm just normally just doing my normal gaming streams Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. But this weekend, I'm not gonna be playing on Saturday because of I have family visiting for the weekend. So,
Okay.
but he'll be gone before he'll be heading back home on Monday, so I'll be able to stream that night.
Okay. So yeah, go check out Dude. He does awesome achievement hunting on his Rumble channel, which is in the stream description.
And I'll be continuing Metroid Prime 2.
Yeah, and he'll be continuing his playthrough of Metroid Prime 2. I stumbled across I was looking for a guide on an achievement that I was working on today for the genre bingo, because I don't know how to do it. It seems super simple. It says throw 5 enemies down a hole. I don't know how to throw enemies, though. I cannot figure it out, and there's no achievement guide, and I don't know how to do this achievement. So I was looking on
game?
YouTube. It's for a game called Unsighted, which is a
never heard of it.
Yeah, it's an isometric Metroidvania. So it's not a 2D, but it is still that pixel look. So you know how I kind of rag on pixel Metroidvanias. Not that I have anything against them. It's just I would like seeing.
They're a dime a dozen now.
Yeah, there's just so many of them. But it's not a 2D. It is a isometric, so it plays kind of like a Zelda game, like the 2D Zeldas. But it's a very difficult one from what I hear. I've only played it a couple hours, but I was trying to get an achievement in it I did get one achievement, but I wanted it has 2 genre tags on it. So I got the first genre tag for getting an achievement in it for beating one of the bosses. And that was the action adventure genre tag. So I got that one on my bingo board, but I still need to get, I don't have to use this game, but I need to get the Metroidvania genre tag. So I need an achievement in a Metroidvania game. And this seemed like an easy achievement, but I cannot figure out how to do it. So I was looking for a guide on YouTube, and there's nothing on this. There's almost nothing on this game on YouTube, except for a couple of people playing through the game, but not like achievement hunting it. So I couldn't find anything, but I stumbled across a video because the achievement's called Snooker. And I typed in on YouTube, unsighted snooker achievement. And the first thing that popped up was a video from a guy just talking about the extreme length that he's gone to in order to get some ridiculous achievements. So I reached out to him, and I'm going to see about getting him on the channel. Maybe I'll have him join us for Achievement Chasers one time, because this video, he's talking about like how many hundreds of hours he's put into like individual achievements. Like he got Serious 3.0.
We're already at 3 hours. It was just the 2 of us.
Yeah. So I don't know if I messaged him on True Achievements because I friended him, and I see that I've got a response from him. I haven't opened it up yet, but I definitely want to get him on for open mic at least. But it would be kind of fun to get him on for Achievement Chasers at some point. So yeah, he had Seriously 3.0, so I know that's something you could talk about for sure. So but that'll be something in the future, probably next year, since basically the rest of this year's streams were all planned out. So
yep.
But yeah, that will do it. Hey, JT Epsilon is still here saying I have the EA app version. Yeah, he's got the
sounds like he's lurking.
The PC version of Mass Effect 3. The EA app, the Origin, is basically the same thing. So but yeah, so with that, that'll wrap it up. Yeah, I had a feeling this was going to be a bit of a longer one. So but good chat and achievements with you as always, dude. And thank you for all of your guidance and counseling through Dark Souls. So but you have a good night, and we will see you later. And I will be on some Mass Effect here in about half hour after I have a chance to go eat.
I'll probably be in bed by then.
Yeah, you're 3 hours ahead of me. So you have a good night, everyone that was in chat. Thanks for hanging out with us as we blabber on about achievements for 3 hours. We will see you all later, everyone. You guys have a good night. We will catch you later. And as always, in the meantime, game on.